All right, everybody, welcome into the Rant. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every day. I need a little bit more mic. There we go. We do this every day. I get confused because one dial makes the microphone more sensitive, so I sound louder, but I can't gauge that properly if my headphone level is not right. It's, the things I go through. I need a sound guy. That's because, I don't speak in any one standard. I get excited. I'm an excitable kid. That's what I do. All right, what do we do here? We do talk radio for normal people. What do I mean about normal people? I mean us. I mean normal people. I mean, you're not politically radicalized. You're not one of these weirdos on the right or one of these weirdos on the left. You're just a normal person. You shop at Target. You don't want to get shot when you're there. You got kids in the local schools, and, you're not really all that interested in what your kids are being taught, but you're hearing some stuff, so you got to listen. I don't know. We're all just trying to make our way through. Everything is so fucking crazy, and today is no different, boy. I'll tell you. We're going to talk a lot about the victims. Today, the Epstein victims. I guess there's like two ways you could word that. Like I've seen people who obviously have an agenda on social media refer to them as Epstein accusers, as if it's still kind of unproven. We're not sure about they're not accusers, they're victims. We have all accepted that Jeffrey Epstein was this monster who did these monstrous things with all of his, his little cabal of super billionaire friends and important people. We've all accepted that. So the Epstein victims, they got together on Capitol Hill today, and they were brought together by Tom Massey, a Republican from Kentucky or Tennessee or something. I make no distinction between Kentucky and Tennessee. I don't drink American bourbon or whiskey, so it doesn't matter to me. They're the same. And then Ro Khanna from California. He's a Democrat. He's one of them California Democrats. They came together bipartisanly. They're like, hey man, we need questions. We got to answer. We have questions. We need answers concerning the Jeffrey Epstein situation. They've been pretty loud and proud about that. And I think that's great. I think this is an issue. This is an issue like weed. This is an issue like weed that just simply does not fall to partisan points of view. People are all over on this one. And if I dare say, people are pretty much united on these two issues. Like over 80% of Americans are like, just make it legal. What is the big fucking deal about weed? And then higher than that, probably 90% of Americans are like, yeah, we'd like to know who Epstein's little buddies were who were, doing this to kids. So the accusers, victims gathered today with Tom Massey and Ro Khanna. We're going to talk about it. Oh, and we had a special pop-in. I used to love, you remember the Tonight Show from the 1970s? Johnny Carson would be in the middle of, interviewing George Goebel or some, seat filler celebrity from 1978. And then out of nowhere, Bob Hope would just walk out. Like the band would just suddenly go, thanks for the memories. And Bob Hope would walk out and just totally shit on whoever Johnny's guest was at the moment. Yeah, that happened during the press conference because Marjorie Taylor Greene Bob Hoped that bitch. She ain't supposed to be involved in this. This is Tom Massey and Ro Khanna. And now all of a sudden we got crazy ass, nutty buckets Marjorie Taylor Greene showing up and making sense. That's right. We're going to discuss Marjorie Taylor Greene and me sitting there watching her today going, you go, girl. Never in a million years did I think that I would ever. So we'll get into all of that. We'll get into Trump's response. That is just, oh God, look. Oh man, why? I mention a lot about how these politicians, they can't help dick tripping over, simple issues. Trump did it again. He dick tripped all over the Epstein issue today. So we'll play the audio of that. Oh my God. What else do we got to talk about? Just as we were signing off yesterday, we got into, I was talking about how I was bummed because, I'm a big Saturday Night Live guy. I am. Why not? I'll say it. Nobody else will. I am an SNL historian. That's right. I've seen every single episode. of SNL from its debut all the way through just the last one in April. I don't know. I'm a historian, okay? I'm not a logistics guy. I don't know how, far into the spring the season actually runs. So yesterday at the end of the show, I was talking about how I was a little bit bummed out that Saturday Night Live didn't make their announcements of new cast additions, because usually they would do that yesterday. So I was waiting, and then just as we sign off, April sends me an article. They did. They made the announcement while we were on the air. So we're going to go over that. We're going to talk about the new Saturday Night Live editions and why I am just we're going to discuss the difference between Saturday Night Live sketch comedy performers and stand-ups and how it's just, they're two different animals. We'll meet the new cast members. How about that? Some of them are stand-ups, which just, would you stop stand-upping my Saturday Night Live? What else are we going to get into? Fred Savage. Fred Savage is back in the news. Now, I didn't know this. Do you remember, apparently we tried to cancel Fred Savage a couple of years ago? I don't remember that one. I must have been on vacation when we had that meeting. Yeah, we tried to cancel Fred Savage a couple of years ago, and we'll get into what we tried to cancel him for back then. But it's back in the news today. That's right. Some of his former castmates and friends are talking about pervy Fred Savage. So why not stick around? Let's have some of your fondest childhood memories just completely kicked in the nuts. That's what we're going to do. We're going to expose Fred Savage. What else do we have? Let me see. There's a couple other things I want to get into. Oh, the Rock thing? What's going on with the Rock? Have you seen well, he went off roids. People are freaking out because the Rock is now like half the Rock. He's a mere pebble of his former self. So we'll discuss that. What else do we got? You know what, guys? Just if that's not enough, get the fuck out. I got a whole bunch more too. I just don't feel like I need to front sell it for you. Powerball. We're going to talk about Powerball a little bit. We'll do that right here because honestly, I don't know what the story is other than there's a Powerball drawing tonight and it's like $1.3 billion. It's with a capital B, billion. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's a good day. It's a good day because there's $1 billion Powerball drawing and any single one of us could be the winner. None of us will. Come on, let's be honest. None of us are going to win. But we don't know that. We don't know that right now. I am cockily saying that I won't win. Which now, oh God, see, now you got to think is there a God? Is there a God? Because if there was a God and he had a sense of humor, this would be one of those moments where I would end up winning, right? Because then after I win, it would go viral, this video. Guy who won the Powerball actually said hours before that there was no way he was going to win, and then he won. God is good. I don't know. I might be able to leverage that in Christian circles. I got to stop thinking about that. I just won the Powerball. Why am I thinking about leveraging anything? I don't have to worry about that stuff. I just won the Powerball. $1.3 billion. Are you guys like me? Like when you buy what? Because I don't have one convenience store, right? I don't know that I ever had. Don't we all in our lives have two convenience stores at a minimum? We've got two at a minimum, right? We've got the convenience store near home and we've got the convenience store near work. I don't know which one we go to more, but we both go to them. So whenever I buy a lottery ticket, it's always because I'm reminded while waiting in line. You know what I've been waiting in line with lately? I'm addicted. This is so bad. I told April last night at trivia. She looked at me like I was just Big Red. That's right. Big Red, the soda from the fountain at 7-Eleven. I don't know if they're putting extra sugar in it, but it is the most delicious fountain drink. It is so good from 7-Eleven and not everywhere. Not everywhere. I went to another place and it wasn't good. And then I looked and I went, oh, it's not 7-Eleven. That's why. I think 7-Eleven has a deal with Big Red the way McDonald's has a deal with Coke. Coke out of the fountain at McDonald's is the finest Coke you'll ever get anywhere. Because they've got a deal. McDonald's is allowed to monkey around with the formula. McDonald's is allowed to make it sweeter. McDonald's is allowed to, fuck around with the water to syrup ratio that Coca-Cola doesn't let anybody fuck around with. They do McDonald's. And that's why McDonald's is so much better. Oh, Pugs, how do you know this? Because I had a job one summer where I would drive around to convenience stores for the Coca-Cola company, and we would measure the syrup usage, and we would report it. We'd write it all down because Coca-Cola keeps track. Don't be using too much syrup. Don't be making our drink not the way we want our drink to taste. So, okay, so if I'm in line at a, by the way, what you've seen for the last 5 minutes, this whole story, this is just quintessential stream of consciousness. I am rolling. All right, so if I'm standing in line at, let's say, my work convenience store, because we all have two, I'm in line, I've got my big red, and then I'll see a sign that says Powerball $1 billion, and I'll buy a ticket. I'll buy a ticket. I don't have any one convenience store where I buy my tickets from. And thank God, because the convenience store in my neighborhood, it's, if there is a God, and again, I'm not sure, but if there is a God, nobody at the 7-Eleven at Hillcrest across the street from SMU is ever going to win a Powerball drawing. There's no way. The median income in, that neighborhood is like everybody's already got 10, 20, 30, $40 million. So I try not to buy lottery tickets there because I just don't think no lottery tickets are going to win. Now, where I prefer to buy my lottery tickets are right here by the E-Gallery on Dragon Street in beautiful downtown Dallas. Why? Because the 7-Eleven that I have here at work is right next to all the bail bonds place and right down the street from Lou Sterrett. And let me tell you, those are the people that my Jesus is going to reward with a Powerball ticket. That's probably a bad idea. Could you imagine giving $1 billion to somebody who's just like out on bond and stopping at the 7-Eleven near the jail so that they can get something to drink? And then they win $1 billion. That ain't right either. I don't know. Anyway, I like to buy lottery tickets in poor people neighborhoods. Long story short. That's it. Long story short. Poor people neighborhoods. I think that there's a better chance that I'm going to win something. You know what? I don't have the chat room up. There we go. Chat room's up. Let's say hi to the chatters. April's in the chat room. She's the first one that I see. April won trivia last night. That's right. She won trivia. She won trivia at the Back Nine. We do it every Tuesday. Coming soon to Bottle Rockets up there in Legacy Village. It's going to be Wednesdays. Stay tuned. I'll tell you about another way for you to come play trivia. April won trivia last night. I mean, she outright won it because there were opportunities between trivia rounds last night for players to accumulate extra points. And James Parker, afternoon host at WBAP, 93.3 every day from 2 to 5. He's on right now. He's my competition. James Parker got a whole bunch of extra points. He got points for winning a Pac-Man tournament in between rounds. He got one. Anyway, April ended up tying with James Parker. And at trivia, when at the end of 2 rounds, there are 2 teams that are tied, what we do is we have to do a quick little, I take one representative from each team. They come up to me. One of them gets assigned the noise bing, meaning when they know it, they got to go bing, and the other one goes bong, right? And then I just start randomly asking trivia questions. First one to, beat another one is the winner. We did this a couple of weeks ago. April and Bill. We don't talk about Bill enough. Bill is another one of the cornerstones of trivia. April and Bill are a team. Bill decides that they're tied at the end of it. So Bill decides that he's going to be the representative for both teams. And April sits there and she's like, okay, Bill, go Bill. And once again, they're going up against James Parker. Afternoons, WBAP 93.3. James Parker is again tied for the lead. So we do the trivia off. And the question was, how many cards are there in a typical deck of cards? That's it. And of course, Bill knows this because everybody knows this. Bill goes, bing. And I say, Bill, what's your answer? And Bill puffs his chest out and he confidently says, 32. Of course, that was wrong. James Parker picked it up with 52. He went, no, that would be 52. So James won that day, sending the team of April and Bill packing because Bill screwed up under pressure. This time for the tie, Bill got benched. And April came, and April went up against James Parker, and April went home with the prize. April won. I don't remember what the question was. I don't know, something stupid. It was just a random stupid question. But congratulations to April. She is our trivia champion heading into next week. April says, Bill just loves that you always tell this story. I know, Bill hates it, but, it's a thing between Bill and I now, and it's our special little in-joke. All right, I won't do it anymore. I think Bill has paid his penance. But 32, that's never not going to be funny to me. Because he was so confident. He's like, 32. And I'm like, no, Bill. I know what you were thinking, but your mouth made the wrong noises. So that was trivia yesterday. Thank you so much to April for coming out and all the people who played. It was fun. Boxing Day, that's what it was. The question, thank you, April. The question for all the marbles, a one-on-one tournament, or not tournament, but question at the end of the 2 rounds that I gave to April and James is, what is the day after Christmas called in the United Kingdom? April said Bing or Bong, I don't remember, whatever. But she said whatever it was she was supposed to say, and she said Boxing Day. And James seemed like he knew it. But it wasn't fast enough. Not fast enough for April, who also brought her dog last night. And I wanted to mention this because I was thinking about it on the ride home. What happened to the dog? Did the dog just disappear at some point? I saw a much larger dog walking around in the bar. Yeah, it's a dog bar. I saw a much larger dog walking around in the bar, and then I didn't see April's dog anymore. And on the ride home, I went, coincidence? Maybe she put her dog in the car. I don't know. He's very quiet, very well behaved. All right, so here's what we got to get to. It is the last time not the last time I say this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have to hammer this a lot. It's Pledge Week, guys. It's Pledge Week. We need your tips. If you enjoy this show, if you listen every day, if you've been listening every day for 21 million years or however long it's been on, we need your tips during Pledge Week. Help keep this show alive. It's not much. It's like $200 now. Do you know that when this show started, I was like, yeah, if we could just make like $1,000 a month of it, it's just $200 a fucking month. That's it. And we reserve, all of our pitches for the final week. It's not even the final week. Bills are due. Everything's late, but I'm not worried about credit. I'm going to win the lottery tonight. Why would I worry about credit? I'm going to have $1.3 billion. Fingers crossed. So tip the show if you can. Oh, and by the way, thank you. We've had 1 tip this week. That's right. 1 tip this week, and it came from Barney. So Barney is tonight's sponsor of today's show, the great Barney. Thank you, dude. Seriously, man. I don't know. It sounds trite because what am I supposed to say? But that you think to do it. I so appreciate that, Barney. He shows up every day, hanging out with us. One of our staunchest supporters here. So thank you, Barney, man. That's awesome. All right. If you want to tip and be like Barney, all you got to do is drop a little something there in the Cash App or the Venmo. Please help the show continue to do this. All right. What else? The music show. A lot of people are asking me about the music show. I didn't think that many of you would be interested in what I'm doing. I'm involved with a new music curation group, and it's fun. I'm excited. I'm like super into it. Music curation is like, it's basically like taking what used to be a job that I once had, which was major market radio station music director, the person who decides what new songs get put on and all that. It was a pretty powerful gig, even if they didn't pay you like it, but it was a pretty powerful gig in that you could influence the charts. If you were a big enough, most influential enough station, like, well, quite frankly, the one I worked at in Chicago, Q101, you could really influence pop charts, like just by adding a song. So anyway, that used to be a gatekeeper kind of thing, but now because of Spotify and all of this stuff, there's now a whole new kind of thing going on, and I'm just learning about it. I know it's been around for a while. I don't need you music snobs going, we've been doing this since COVID. Oh, fuck you. Okay. You're a weirdo. You hang out in bars on Wednesday nights till 11 o'clock. I'm a grown ass man. All right. I'm just coming to it now. They're not a new band. They've been unsigned for 10 years. They've been playing outside Boston since Shut up. Anyway, so I'm launching a new music show that's going to be on every day before we do the talk thing. I'm going to be playing music. I'm going to be playing music from my curated lists. I don't really know how to explain it yet, so I'll just wait and maybe our buddy Rob, from the chat room, Rob's involved in this. Rob and I have rekindled our friendship, and I got a lot of respect for him as a musician and as a creator and all that. So I'm glad he thought of me. Now, to that end, I've been listening to new music because that's what the show is going to be. It's going to be all new music. It's going to be unsigned independent artists who are just out there doing unbelievable stuff. And I know for the first couple of days that I was talking about this, I told you, oh, it's all great. It ain't all great. There's a lot of crap out there, and you got to listen to a lot of crap. And with my curation process, that means I have to listen to crap 3 times, because I have to listen to a song 3 times before I decide whether or not I'm moving on or if this is going to make one of our playlists. I want to play a song for you right now. This is one of the songs that'll make the initial list when I do my first show. This is a song that blows my mind. Every time I hear it, I'm like, this song on multiple levels is so interesting. First of all, the vocalization, the performance of the girl. I mean, I love the way, not necessarily the way she sounds, because I imagine she could sound like any number of other poplets, if you will, because this is a bit more of a pop song. But it's her phrasing of the words. There's like a way that I don't know. I think she's great. The song I want to play for you is called Happy, right? No, it's not it's not that big-headed guy, Pharrell, because I'm happy. No, it's not that. It's actually more interesting than that. The first time I listened to the song, I was like, yeah, okay, it's kind of got a good beat. Second time I listened to it, I was like, no, okay, wait a second. This thing is really hooky. This is a good song. This could be a potential hit. Third time I listened to it, I was jaw-dropped by the lyrics. I didn't listen to the lyrics for the first couple of songs, and now the lyrics are what totally sells this song to me. Her name is Karis. It's a young lady who does. This is a song about domestic abuse. I didn't know that. It's called Happy. And I'm like, man, this song kind of moves. I could totally see how this could be a hit. Because that's what this show is about. The show is about finding songs that can be a hit, as judged by me in my ear. I've got an ear. I know I can't play a lick, but I know I hear something and I know if that's going to play on the radio or not. And I also have a team of fellow curators, a bunch of friends of mine who are disc jockeys and music people and record company people. I'm sending them songs. I'm sending them 10 songs, and I'm saying, rate these 1 to 10. So I have this whole process. It'll debut sometime, I think maybe next week. We got some production we got to do first. But I want to play this song for you. The song is called Happy, okay? And again, it's about domestic abuse. And the more I listen to this, the more I think Taylor Swift fucking cuts this song. Taylor Swift cuts this song, and it's like the biggest song in America, and everybody's applauding her for how brave she is for taking this stance. If you're able to listen to the lyrics, they're actually pretty cool and really interesting. And the juxtaposition between the topic, the subject matter, if you will, and the music is really interesting. All right, so this is one of my favorites. And again, you know, I'm not a pop guy, but when you have the ear, it's not about that. It's not about, oh yeah, this would get me moving on the dance floor. No, it's about, and is what I'm hearing something that I could see other people really connecting with? And the answer for this is yes. This is Happy by Karis. Check this out. All right, so we got knocked offline again. I need somebody in the chat room to say that, no, you're still here. The minute we just got knocked offline, I saw the fucking internet start to go whoop, 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 whoop. This is why we need tips. This is why. All right, somebody in the chat room, if you're hearing me right now, if we're back on, it happened once yesterday, didn't it? Where it was like right at the beginning of the show, just like this. All right, so I will wait. I will wait to see if we're live. All right, Frank, you're not helping. I don't know if that's from 30 seconds ago or. Frank says, I don't listen to the lyrics. Well, then you're probably not a big music guy. I would say that you're not. You're a celebrity sports guy. You like sports, and you're not a music guy, Frank. That's why you don't listen to lyrics, because you're not being immersed in the poetry of it. And that's fine. There's plenty of people, not everybody needs to be like a music nerd. Frank's fine. Thank you, Kevin. All right. So now let me get back to the song. I want to play this. This is an example of the kind of things that I'm going to be attempting to discover every single day, this song is a hit. Now, I don't know if it's a hit for her because nobody knows who she is and there's not $1 billion worth of marketing and stuff behind her, but she takes this song and she gives this to, again, I say someone like Ariana Grande. Those people don't write their own music. You give this to somebody like Taylor Swift. Well, she writes her own music. That's why she's different. All right, here it is. This is a terrific song, and I think it's the best one, the most obvious hit of all the songs that I've heard so far doing my research for this new show. It's Karis, Happy.
You knew what you wanted, caught me open-hearted. I saw good in your eyes. You crave my attention, jealous and aggressive. I forgive every time. How could you say you love me, hug me, then shove me? My head against the wall, pretend that it's nothing. 100 different times I leave and you catch me. I keep it from my friends, no, they're gonna ask. How could you say you love me, hug me, then shove me? My head against the wall, pretend that it's nothing. 100 different times I leave and you catch me. I'll keep it from my friends, no, they're gonna ask me. I'll tell them that I'm so happy, so happy. So happy, so happy. You think you can break me, it's so suffocating. I can't be what you want. Sorry, always follows. I'm scared of tomorrow. How could you say you love me, hug me, then shove me? My head against the wall, pretend that it's nothing. 100 different times I leave and you catch me. I keep it from my friends, no, they're gonna ask. How could you say you love me, hug me, then shove me? My head against the wall, pretend that it's nothing. 100 different times I leave and you catch me. I keep it from my friends, no, they're gonna ask me. I'll tell them that I'm so happy, so happy. So happy, so happy. Packing my bags, it's nearly 2 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I should lock the door, it's nearly 3 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I should start in the car, it's nearly 4 in the morning, 4 in the morning. I should go, but I don't. How could you say you love me, hug me, then shove me? My head against the wall, pretend that it's nothing. 100 different times I leave and you catch me. I keep it from my friends, no, they're gonna ask. How could you say you love me, hug me, then shove me? My head against the wall, pretend that it's nothing.
All right.
100 different times I leave and you catch me.
Yeah, there you go. That's Karis. So happy. All right, so on Monday, I sent out the first list to 10 of my friends who are in the music business, either in radio, music directors, or actually 2 of them are musicians who were formerly signed to a major label. So I sent out, I said 10, that's a nice round number. I actually only sent 9, but I'm looking for an even 10. I just need to have like the right person. And I've got one person in mind, but I haven't reached out to them. By the way, I will mention all their names. I will mention all their names when I debut the show, like the people who said this. But I sent the initial list of 10 songs that I want ranked by friends in the industry. I received 3 responses back so far. They get a week. You listen to these songs in a week. So within 3 days, I've already gotten 3 responses back. all 3 of those responses had that song that you just heard in their top 2. Yeah. I'm like, no way. I go, you hear this song, you're like, that's a fucking hit. Put it on the air right now. Let's spin it. Let's spin it 8 times between 6 and 6. Let's go. All right. I'm very excited about this show, and I hope that some of you will stick with me. I do completely get that it's not for everybody, but, there's new horizons, and I'm still going to do this. Well, I don't know if I'm going to still do this. Can we get some tips around here? I still want to do my talk thing. Kevin, my boy Kevin's in the chat room. What does Kevin say? Kevin says, I think you will get a lot of house cleaning done dancing around in your pink bathrobe to this song. Yes, I will. April likes it. There you go. She says, okay, added to my Spotify. Well, why don't you, all right, see, this is what I got to do. You got to start, I got to start figuring out. I got to learn how to market properly my playlists on Spotify. That's coming soon. All right, let's get started with today's show. Once again, I do want to encourage all of you to support this kind of talk radio. It is live and local every day since 2021. Tip the show. Keep us in business. We definitely need your help. All right, let's get started. Here we go. First thing I want to talk about, Powerball. We already talked about that. I went into it. Buy your Powerball tickets in a bad neighborhood, because if there is a God, he's probably going to be, giving people from that neighborhood Powerball winnings and not billionaires. And I'm telling you, if two things, if a billionaire wins the Powerball, then 1, there is no God. That's just not fair by any. 2, God's a dick. I don't want to tell you about the guy who won Powerball down in Florida. Did you see this story? This story is a couple of months old now, but I was sitting on it and I never talked about it. And I had a little segment called There Is No God. Some dude won the Powerball in Kentucky, won $100 million. And then a week later, he and his lady go down to some funky trash resort down in Orlando, and he gets arrested and he beats up a cop. Yeah, that's how he celebrated winning the lotto. Oh, and by the way, before he won the lotto, he had just been released from prison. For what? That's right, child molesting. So, where's your God now? God gave a Powerball winning ticket to a child molester who then celebrated the winnings by kicking a cop in the face. Or maybe God's just funny. I don't know. Maybe God's just funny. Who knows? Powerball, get your tickets. Drawing is tonight at 11 o'clock, $1.3 billion. Oh, and don't even get me started. $1.3 billion. We just accept it. We just accept it. Well, if you take the cash payout, it's only going to be $45. It's 1.3 or $45. Dude, they're taking half. Yeah, I did the math yesterday. After the cash payout and after taxes, God forbid you live in a state where they actually take taxes. That's why I'm proud to say that I'm going to be a Texas winner. It comes out to $300 billion, which sure, we can make that work. I mean, we'd have to cut back on some of our bigger plans. I mean, we won't be buying the entire, Chicago Bears, maybe just a piece. But they're taking $1 billion. You only get, it's $1.3 billion. If you take the cash payout and then after taxes, it's only going to be it's $1 billion that they're taking. That ain't right. Somebody, and nobody's calling bullshit on it because the lottery is just a big fucking scam anyway. Although it's a scam that I do approve of. I do enjoy. I think the lottery provides hard working class people every week, or maybe you play it every day. If you play it every day, you're a degenerate. And you need to take a look at yourself. But the lottery as it exists, it gives people hope. For $1, you go into the weekend, you're like, hey, I could win. I get that. That's fine. That's not, a terrible thing. But it's all a scam other than that. The money they keep. And again, remember, the only reason we take the cash payout is because if you're like me, I don't have any faith that this country or this lottery system is still going to be around issuing me checks in 20 years. 5 years from now, the whole world, Godzilla could come out of the ocean and everything's different. Hey, after the Godzilla attack, the first thing we got to do is cancel the lottery. I mean, I don't know it's going to work that way, but it could. Anything can happen. So get your Powerball tickets tonight. And again, buy them in a bad neighborhood. I just think it's a better opportunity for you. I think it's more. All right, let's talk about what happened there on Capitol Hill today. Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, one's a Republican, one's a Democrat. They've been really pushing on this. Let's be real transparent about the Epstein stuff. We need more names. That's what we need. It's what we want. Right? Because what do you want? Like, people are like, I want the list. There's no fucking list. Do you even know what you want? There is no fucking list. There's not going to be a list of like Bill Gates banged a 12-year-old on this date. Click for link and pictures. That's not going to exist. It doesn't exist. It's not like Jeffrey Epstein was like, the Manhattan Madam who had like a list of her clients with Charlie Sheen all over it. It's not how that worked. And you shouldn't expect that to be the result. And you also shouldn't walk around with a mindset that says, I won't be satisfied until there's a list with names. Because again, that doesn't fucking exist. Stop it. What does exist are all kinds of testimony from everything from grand jury testimony to actual in-court testimony that has been, for some reason, sealed so that we can never know what these victims said in open court about these people. Why? We don't know. These are what we want the answers to. We want to know why we don't have any names other than Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell when we know he ran with some pretty powerful dudes. We want to know. We want to see some kind of documentation. We want to read testimony, that kind of shit. All right. So they all get up. Massie and Khanna, they amass this thing with all the living victims. And I say living victims because I don't know. I don't know what the shelf life is on these. There's one of them in particular we're going to talk about who I think we ought to tag. We ought to tag and we ought to follow around and make sure that she's safe because I don't imagine that she's going to live much longer. She might commit suicide. She looked depressed. Look at how sad she looks. She's probably going to be dead by Christmas. She'll hang herself or something. So we'll talk about her as well. But so all of this goes on. I watched it all. I watched, the lawyers got involved. And look, if you're like me, if you just want important people who are otherwise protected from their ill deeds, if you want these people called out and named, and I don't even know what justice looks like, but if there is, and I always use this as an example, it doesn't mean anything. I have nothing to go, but like if the guy who owns Nike, it turns out, was like, spending 3 months a year on Lolita Island, I want to know those fucking names, and I don't care who these people donate their money to. So this is not about Trump at this point. I don't give a shit about Trump. Look, he's all kinds of things. I don't know. I'm not going there. I don't even care. It doesn't matter. Trump's not a pedophile. Okay, there you go. I'll say it. I don't think Trump's a pedophile. But he's fucking covering for pedophiles, which means that he doesn't think the same way about pedophilia as the rest of us, because the rest of us, I think it's safe to say, we find it to be one of the most disgusting aspects of humanity. It is just absolutely right. Okay, so after all these people get up there and they tell their stories, and then we're going to get into some of these stories. They tell their stories and they demand that, these people be named and all that stuff. While this was going on, Trump was in the Oval Office doing the Trump show. Fucking Trump show's back. The Trump show is back. You know me, I was worried. It's like my favorite show. Today I wasn't watching. I got to be honest. I wasn't watching the Trump show. I was instead watching the press conference on Capitol Hill. But then I realized, oh shit, I think the Trump show is on, because I saw another YouTube pop up. And I clicked on it and I started watching the Trump show. And while these Jeffrey Epstein victims are on Capitol Hill talking about how they demand justice and how people need to rally together in their belief that the privilege should not be protected from pedophilia, right? While that's going on, the president's in the Oval Office, doing the Trump show with the president of Poland, who, by the way, not a good guest. Yeah, sometimes he has good guests. Like when Trump's doing the Trump show and all that, it's always with like some poor head of state who's just walked into this nonsense and they're just sitting there like, oh, check it out. It's the Prime Minister of South Korea. Sometimes they're fun to watch because their responses. Today's the Polish guy. He was nothing. He was like, don't even bother. He was giving us no facial expressions. He wasn't reacting to anything Trump was saying. So anyway, Trump gets asked, because this is my favorite part, Q&A. At the end of it, he's always like, anybody got any questions? Which is just the greatest thing about this guy. It's just the greatest thing about this guy. He loves to take the questions. It's the best. It's the best. That's why the Trump shows can't miss television every day. All right, so they start asking questions. And so remember, this is at the same time that all of this stuff is going on Capitol Hill. He's asked by, I don't know, probably one of his preferred lackey reporters, what are your thoughts on the accusers testifying there on Capitol Hill right now? And in, perfect Trump fashion, he, of course, trips over his dick. So let's watch how Trump, by the way, let me show you what he should have said. So the question is, Epstein victims testifying, blah, blah, blah. Here's what he should have said. I think that we can all come together and agree that what these women have gone through is something that we would not wish upon anyone that we love or care about. I think that they should be listened to, and I am dedicated. This administration is fully dedicated to listening to them and finding out what we can do to make sure that these women get the justice that they're seeking. Thank you. That's all he had to say. That's it. You fucking move on. But that ain't what he said. That ain't what the president of the United States said. What did he say when he could have said that? What did he say? He said this.
Mr. President, right now there have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. And Thomas Massie, who was sponsoring a discharge position to get the House to vote on releasing those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow-walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir? So this is...
By the way, I just want to interrupt here real quick. That is exactly what's going on here. That's what I was alluding to earlier when I said I don't think he's a pedophile. What he's doing is he's protecting some very powerful people who are probably big donors to the MAGA cause or whatever. He's protecting people. That's what he's doing. He's not protecting the victims, or as this reporter called them, survivors, which is a new one. That's interesting too. I like survivors. All right, let's just watch.
A Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, so this is a Democrat hoax.
All right, so Democrat hoax, I'm going to let him go, but I just need to say straight from the beginning, remember, these girls are on stage. They're on the steps of the Capitol, bipartisan, Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie. Oh, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Marjorie Taylor Greene shows up before the festivities. So a Democrat hoax. Tom Massie is the one that's pushing this. He's trying to make it political. Why? These women are there talking about this right now. There is a common decency way of approaching this, but no, he's trying to make it political, and he's tripping over his dick because he looks so fucking phony. And for people like me, who that is like the big problem with him, that he's a con man. You people can't see that? He doesn't mean that. You hear what he just said? You people don't see it. You people are like, yeah, that's what I think too. So when he does this, when the question is about something real that is happening right now, and he comes back with Democrat hoax, holy fuck, dude. You're doing it wrong.
That never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more. And nobody's ever satisfied. All right, so
so now what he's saying is that the Jeffrey Epstein situation, to me, reminds me of the Kennedy conspiracy. They're never satisfied. He released some bullshit Kennedy stuff that was like, that's not real. And everybody called it that. Everybody was like, that's some bullshit Kennedy stuff. We've all known about this. But he was doing a victory lap. I released the Kennedy info. And people were like, no, you didn't, you fucker. We're not as stupid as you think we are. I mean, some of us are really stupid and some of us are placated by this. but not the regular, normal, free-thinking Americans. So what he's trying to say here is it's just like Kennedy. It's just like Kennedy. People will never be satisfied. Excuse me, Mr. President, it's not just like Kennedy because you are not directly related to the Kennedy story. You are directly related to the Epstein story. It ain't like Kennedy at all, okay? It wouldn't matter. You're the president of the United States. You're not involved with the Kennedy cover-up. This cover-up, the Epstein one, there's a lot of people out there, myself included, who think that you are involved in some way, whether it's just providing some last means of defense for these pedophiles or whatever. But you, sir, are involved in this. You are not involved in the Kennedy. It is not the same thing.
I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a...
All right, there you go. There you go. People talking about the Epstein thing, a massive global sex trafficker seemingly getting away with it, although he did hang himself. We got a lot of questions here. He is saying, I can't. Hold on. We got to go back.
The nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now, D.C., this is because they're trying to hold
a shell game, right? I don't know why everybody's talking about the Epstein thing. That's not a big deal. You know, it's a big deal how fucking great of a president I've been. Hey, let's talk about the 7 wars that I stopped. What are these 7 fucking wars that he stopped? I'm only aware of 2 wars, and he ain't stopped either. The fuck is he talking? He keeps going, the 7 wars. Why aren't you talking about how you totally safe in D.C. now? Why aren't you talking about... Do you people not see how disingenuous that is? Do you people not see that this is a man who is obviously trying to change the subject into something that glorifies him? At the expense of women who were fucked by a billionaire when they were 12. That's this guy. He can't do the right thing. This is all ego. I swear to God, this is all his ego.
Because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now, D.C., it's a totally safe zone. It's called a safe zone. That's a term. It's a term of art.
He just made that up. They call it a safe zone. No, they don't. You're streaming of conscious. I am a stream of consciousness, dude. I know exactly what you're doing. That's how when you think of something and you say it and you think that sounds good, you try to make sure that people think that that's something that other people say, so it is good. That's what he just did. He does it all the time. He does it by saying things like, people are saying. He also says he does this one all the time too. A lot of people don't know. He says that when he just learned something that the rest of us fucking know. A lot of people don't know that Lincoln was a Republican. Yeah, they fucking do, dude. You're a con man. You're a salesman. You are constantly selling. So let's keep going.
It's a safe zone because it's very safe. You can walk down the street.
It's a safe zone because it's very safe. All right.
Now and nothing's going to happen. No crime, no murders, no nothing.
Anyway, that's what he did. Yeah, he fucking shit the bed again on one of the most simple layup kind of things. He just turned it into a whole... I'm telling you, man, I'm looking at all these people. I'm looking at MAGA on Twitter in particular because I follow a lot of MAGA because they're funny as hell. They're mad. MAGA is like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? So the question for MAGA is, you know how you guys really hate pedophiles and it's like the first thing, like it's like the worst thing. And I agree that pedophilia is like the worst thing that you can call somebody. But I also think it should be reserved for the most serious of people because, you don't want to you don't want to marginalize that word, right? But you guys, you MAGA, everybody's a pedophile. You don't like them. Your team makes a trade. You're like, why did they trade for that pedophile? You guys are so pedophile oriented. And yet many of you seem to be like, no, but Trump is doing this because, so you love Trump more than you despise pedophiles is what I'm starting to see. Because this fucking guy is taken up for pedophiles, and that is obvious. Doesn't matter what else he does. Look, kind of like the idea of maybe Washington being safe. I'm a Chicago guy. He wants to send some troops in. Not everything he does is wrong. This is fucking wrong. This is fucking wrong. And you are in a cult if you don't see it that way. If you don't listen to him say, and you're like, oh, but he's just what he's. No, shut the fuck up. This guy is covering up for pedophiles. It's obvious now. All right, we'll move on. All right, so that was his response to the whole thing. But then Lisa Phillips, who is one of the victims or survivors or accusers, whatever you're comfortable with calling, Lisa Phillips was told, because remember, these two things were happening at the same time. They were doing this press conference, and then Trump was doing his press conference in the Oval Office, and Trump in the Oval Office was asked that question, and he called it a hoax. So then the victims are doing their Q&A. Again, this is happening at the same time. And a reporter says to Lisa Phillips, or at least he says to somebody who's up there, Lisa Phillips, one of the victims, came out and addressed it. He said, the president of the United States just called your claims a part of a hoax. So these women, they're like, wait, what? What did he just do? He just called it a what? All right, so let's watch this. This is Lisa Phillips. We're going to hear more from her. Again, I don't think Lisa. I don't think Lisa is going to be alive much longer, but hey, that's the country. We're okay with it because she's not us, right? She's not us. She's not our daughter. She's like, oh, she's just someone on TV who's going to end up hanging herself in a couple of months. And we're all going to be like, she was depressed. Here she is.
For the survivors, Mr. Edwards, the president has said that this Epstein issue is a hoax, is the words that he used. Can we get your reactions to what you think when you hear him say that?
All right, so the reporter just told the gathered people that the president has just called your claims a hoax. This is the attorney for some of the women. He is now turning to the women and saying, okay, president just called you guys hoaxsters. Anybody want to talk?
I'll answer that. Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican, not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is real trauma.
What does it feel like emotionally to hear that?
Devastating.
It's being gutted from the inside out. Not that I would know what that feels like, but I imagine it's the anxiety buildup with the depression and the survival mode, and then your nervous system goes limp and ironically is shot. And it feels like you just want to explode inside because nobody, again, is understanding that this is a real situation. These women are real. We're here in person. To say that it's a hoax is just not... Please humanize us. I would like Donald J. Trump and every person in America and around the world to humanize us, to see us for who we are and to hear us for what we have to say. There is no hoax. The abuse was real. Now, what goes on behind closed doors, I can't speak for that. What happens around the world politically, I cannot speak for that. But I am here with all of these women, including our attorneys, and I would be more than happy to meet with him, and I will meet him halfway.
All right, that was not Lily Thomas. Sorry, that was someone named Robeson. That was another one of the victims there. Yeah, I'm sorry, or Lisa Phillips. I thought that was Lisa. It's not Lisa Phillips. Okay, so that's the response. Now, before this whole thing got started, they always got opening acts, before they trot out the victims and all, and they give their speeches and they talk and their statements and all that, and the lawyers get involved. Before all that happened, before Massey and Ro Khanna, the two guys who are, put this whole thing together, before that, you got to have an opening act. And today it was Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, this is important. Because you know me, I'm not a big Marjorie Taylor Greene fan. I think that, first of all, I don't give a shit about her. It's a congresswoman from Georgia. Hold on, I'm getting a call. I can't take this right now. And my phone won't. There we go. She's a congresswoman from Georgia. She has absolutely no impact on me, although she is accumulating power. She has found herself on a number of committees, which was never the case before, but here she is. I think she's a fool. How about that? I just think she's a fool. I think she's a silly person. I think she's angry and entitled. I think she's a fucking Karen. That's exactly who I think she is. So imagine my shock when she gets up on the steps opening act for this whole thing and just, throws down. I was actually cheering for Marjorie Taylor Greene, me, of all people. Here, this is what she had to say. Let's see. Again, this is the opening act. This went on just before. Oh, seriously? Gonna make us do a commercial again? All right, here you go. Let's see this. Bum, bum, bum. Here we go. Marjorie Taylor Greene, man, shocking the shit out of me. And if she is, as many people think, the quintessential MAGA female, and I think she is. Her and Lorena Boebert, they hate each other, but they are like the two quintessential MAGA females. Boebert a little bit more because she's doable. A MAGA female has to be really focused on their personal sexuality. They have to breast implants and trying really hard. Marjorie Taylor Greene tries really hard, but she's not hot. Sorry, Marge. You're starting from a deficit. Boebert is at least hot. Like when Boebert was a sophomore in high school, you'd have been like, I want to take that girl to the dance. She's kind of hot. All right, so here you go. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene throwing down, breaking from Trump. Will MAGA follow her? Again, the question, does MAGA care more about exposing pedophiles as they seem to have been all about the last few years, or do they just care more about keeping their golden, what do they call it? A golden calf, their idol, their God idol unblemished. So are they living in reality, or are they just want to continue this fantasy?
Time. And we did not get an advance list of speakers other than Congressman Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie. You see Marjorie Taylor Greene speaking right now. We want to be completely transparent. We may hear some details that, frankly, viewers will find very disturbing, and we may also hear claims that we cannot verify at this time. Let's listen.
Jeffrey Epstein and his cabal that continued a nightmare. Those people deserve the shame. And today we are coming forward and we are going to fight like hell for these women, because we have to fight like hell for those that are enduring sexual abuse and are living in a prison of shame. Anyone that is being abused, it is not your fault. You should live with no guilt or fear or shame. All of the fault belongs to the evil people that do these things to the innocent. This is the most important fight we can wage here in Congress, is fighting for innocent people that never receive justice. And the women behind me have never received justice. And do you want to know why? It's because Jeffrey Epstein somehow was able to walk among the most rich, powerful people, not only in America, but foreign countries. Yesterday, I heard countries like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and even Israel, and other countries. The truth needs to come out, and the government holds the truth. The cases that are sealed hold the truth. Jeffrey Epstein's estate holds the truth. The FBI, the DOJ, and the CIA holds the truth. And the truth we are demanding come out on behalf of these women, but also as a strong message to every innocent child, teenager, woman, and man that is being held captive in abuse. This should never happen in America, and it should never be a political issue that divides us. And I want to thank Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie for doing something brave, crossing political boundaries for a very important fight. And I'm honored to join both of them. And I'm honored that Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert signed the discharge petition along with myself. And I asked my Republican colleagues not to choose just one path for justice and transparency and accountability, but I asked my Republican colleagues to choose every path for justice and accountability and transparency. And with that, I'd like to bring back Congressman Ro Khanna to start this important press conference.
Oh, wow. That was pretty good. I've never found myself listening to what Marjorie Taylor Greene has to say, but she's absolutely right. And then she goes and she hands the mic to a liberal Democrat from California. She's honored to be on the stage with a liberal Democrat from California. I dare say, are we healing? Are we healing as a nation? No, I thought she did good there, and I'm with her. I am absolutely with her. Hold on. I wanted to mention some people in the chat room. I want to make sure that your voices are heard on all of this stuff, especially when there are voices like Frank, who says stuff like this. Frank, MAGA is split on Epstein files. Really? Follow-up. Frank, is that a problem for you that they're split? Because normal people are not split on trying to find out what happened with the Epstein. Normal people are not split. Normal people want pedophiles, especially normal people with children like myself, although I challenge any pedophile in America to come try and molest my son. I do. Let's go. I'll sell tickets for that. My kid will fuck. That's not going to happen. My kid's big. My kid's big and very strong is what I'm saying. I am far more likely to get molested than my son is at this point. Unless he, I never mind. Won't go there. Frank then goes on to say, are the Epstein files new on CNN? They've been on Fox News for years. What is that tone? I'm getting a weird tone from that. Frank, are you asking, are you being snarky, Frank? Or do you think that CNN has never mentioned the Epstein files? And for what reason? No, CNN's all over the Epstein files, especially since Trump was like, nothing to see here. CNN's all over the Epstein files. I also want to address this with Adam, but not in the way you might think. Adam says, you're a goddamn moron if you think having troops in a city makes it safer. Okay, might be. That's fine. I would say this. You're a social retard, Adam, if that's how you fucking talk to people, because I know you in real life. You are a fucking online keyboard warrior. You're a goddamn trope. Stop it. You're a goddamn moron. Dude, I'm fucking performing here. And you're in a chat room just fucking, and it's not just this, but I do want to, you do this all the time. You're so fucking aggressive, and you wonder why people meet your aggression with even more aggression. And then you don't understand why everybody's an asshole. I'm a fucking moron. That's your level of discourse. God damn it, man. God damn it. You're so disappointing to me sometimes. All right. Let's see here. I just tried to crawl into Adam's head a little bit. I just tried to, make him question his instincts. What a fucking dick. What a dick. You're a dick, Adam. You're a moron if you think, you want to have a conversation about it, or are you just going to be a fucking dick? He would be so good at MAGA. Seriously, if he wasn't one of the irritating libtards, he would be so good at MAGA. He knows how to... Ugh. All right. All right, so Frank, are we clear? All right, it's probably not a good thing that MAGA is split on the Epstein situation, and also, yes, dude, CNN has been discussed. Although I don't know, I don't really watch CNN, but I see clips, right? So I've seen the clips on Mediaite, so I know they are. All right, what else do we have here? So we got Marjorie Taylor Greene. We also heard from a victim, Annie Farmer. Her story is crazy. Here, Annie Farmer's story really stuck with me. Annie Farmer, at 16 years old, was flown by Jeffrey Epstein to his sprawling ranch in New Mexico, where over the course of a weekend, she was abused by multiple men. Okay? This was all reported in 1996 to the authorities. By whom? Not her, her sister, who at the time was 12. They then flew her sister to the ranch and started fucking around with her 12-year-old sister. Her sister in 1996 went to the police, filed charges. I don't even live here. This billionaire just flew me on his private jet, and they've been molesting me for a week. 96. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. So when we say we want information, we want to know what's going on here. We're not oversimplifying it by pretending that there's some magic list. But here's what I want to know. I want to know who the fucking sheriff was in that town. I want to know who the prosecutor was in 1996 who didn't bring these charges and what their connection was to Jeffrey Epstein, who I am certain in that county in New Mexico probably paid a lot of money to public officials to make sure that if this kind of situation ever happened, they would cover for him. So yeah. These victims all have people who helped Jeffrey Epstein do his shit. I'm not quite as interested in finding out who was actually doing kids, although let's probably make sure we figure that out too. At this stage, I want to know the people who were complicit. I want to know the people who I want to know if there were ever any pilots on that airplane of his who witnessed a bunch of kids being trafficked to Lolita Island. I would like to see those guys brought up on charges. You don't fucking say anything? How many people allowed Jeffrey Epstein to live this lifestyle for as long as he did? Who are these people? Let's start with them. And Annie Farmer is a great example of someone who's got a story. And by the way, names were named. They're just all sealed. They're all sealed because, you know, you wouldn't want to embarrass somebody who was covering for a pedophile in 96. Annie Farmer. By the way, all of these women, all of these women were, well, first off, all of these women are beautiful. I mean, these women are all very attractive women, and they're all in their late 30s to early to mid 40s at this point. They're all very attractive women. They all seem to be very, very well spoken. Every single speaker who got up today of the victims who talked about what happened to them, they were all very impressive to me. All right, Annie Farmer was certainly one of them that was impressive. There was another one we met named Marina Lacerda. Marina Lacerda, she was 14 years old when she was recruited off the street. She was like from the Bronx or something, and somebody, just like you see in the creepy, scary movies, right? Some creep in a limousine rolled the window down and was like, hey, you want a job? She was given a job giving personal massages to Jeffrey Epstein in his Central Park West. Was that the location? Anyway, his apartment, his fancy ass fucking apartment in Manhattan. She was taken via cab to his place every day where for $300, this poor chick would give this creepy billionaire a massage. And of course, other things went down. What's her story? Oh my God, her telling her story. She was like, yeah, so it was like, I was going there like 4 times a week. So that's $1,200 a week. She's 14 years old, jerking off some billionaire. And at 14, you know, she's not really thinking about the ramifications, the emotional whatever that is going to come with this situation. She's just thinking, I'm 14 and I'm making more money than my dad. So anyway, as soon as she turned like 17, she was no longer invited to the house. She got a little bit too old. And, she also dropped out of high school. Yeah, she was 14 when she started doing this, but because she was making so much money jerking off Jeffrey Epstein at 15, she dropped out of high school. Just so messed up. All right, Marina Lacerda. I want to know who Jeffrey Epstein's driver was, who was picking her up and driving her. I want to know everybody, and I want to know why they've never said anything about it. Lisa Phillips. Lisa Phillips was the one who, she's a survivor. Here, you know what? There's actually video of Lisa Phillips because she did the thing that I think freaked Trump out the most, or at least Trump's protectors or whatever we're calling this thing. Lisa Phillips came out and said what I've been wondering for a very long time regarding these names and lists and all of that stuff. Well, let me see if I can find her. By the way, Bill Clinton got mentioned too. Let's take him down. Let's go. If Bill Clinton or anybody like that, I want to know all the names. All right. There ain't no protecting nobody. Where is she? Here we go. Okay. This was her. Well, this was Lisa Phillips, right? She was the one that I think came out swinging. Hold on. All righty. What is going on here?
Where we will live stream it to you.
Here we go. Listen to
there.
this.
My name is Lisa Phillips, and I'm the host of a award-nominated podcast called From Now On. a platform supporting survivors.
Promoting her podcast. I can get behind that. Good job. Have something to promote. If you're going to have this kind of an audience, have something to promote.
I want to thank all of my survivor sisters who came before me today. I'll be very short. In the year 2000, I was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's island while on a photo shoot on a nearby island. Who I saw and what I experienced there was a glimpse into a very dark and disturbing world. For years after, I tried to avoid Jeffrey, but he had introduced me to Katie Ford, the owner of the Ford Modeling Agency. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion, arts, and entertainment. This did not just happen to underage girls in Florida. In New York City, hundreds of young, ambitious women were abused by him. Epstein was not just a serial predator, he was an international human trafficker. And many around him knew, many participated, and many profited. And yet, he was protected. So I stand here today for every woman who has been silenced, exploited, and dismissed. We are not asking for pity.
Nope.
We are here demanding accountability, and I'm demanding justice.
Say it.
Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? And also, I would like to announce here today.
Here we go.
Us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved.
Do you see the reaction of the women? The women are down with this. They're going to release the names, non-disclosures or whatever, or court sealings. All be damned. These women know the names of these people. Look at the response to these victims behind them. They are into this idea. They can't wait.
Stay tuned for more details.
Don't upload your videos to YouTube. Upload.
Now we got that to look forward to, right? The victims, they're going to compile their own list, and I'll trust that list more than I'll trust any other list that I see. They were there. Well, what is Adam doing? Is Adam now? Adam's like, I was on a work phone call. Thanks for mentioning me. What are you negotiating blowjobs? What is your work phone call, Adam? Don't patronize me. I called you a social retard. That's all. Are you caught up now? It's on a work call. This guy wants to come twice. I told him you can only come once. Okay. Look at me and Adam. Me and Adam going at it. All right, I'm done. I'm not going to be distracted by Adam any longer. Let's move on to another story. One that is sure to upset Adam. Because this fascinates me. Do you guys know who Graham Linehan is? Graham Linehan is a very funny comedy writer. He is famous in the UK, very famous in the UK. I mean, he's not Ricky Gervais famous because Ricky Gervais is famous across the pond. He's famous here in America. But this guy, Graham Linehan, is famous for some pretty iconic BBC-produced television shows. So, he's like on a level of the creator of Friends or something. I don't know who those people are. He's big. Created Father Ted, which was a very, very big and very critically acclaimed comedy series in the 1990s. He then, in the 2000s, created The It Crowd, starring Matt Berry, which I don't know if you guys have ever seen The It Crowd, but it is one of the funniest British situation comedies. It kind of in the vein of, sort of following in the vibe maybe of The Office, but not done as a mockumentary where The Office. Actually, the interesting thing about The It Crowd is if you ever have a chance to see it, and I suggest you do, especially if you believe that Matt Berry is one of the funniest human beings on the planet. He's one of the stars of it. Matt Berry played Laszlo, the vampire, in What We Do in the Shadows, the TV series. My good man. That's Matt Berry. He's hysterical. He's one of the stars of The It Crowd. So that's Graham Linehan. He's got a pretty cool comedy writing successful thing. He's super rich. He lives in an English manor and all that kind of shit. So Graham Linehan was arrested arriving back from Arizona. He was on a trip to Arizona. He got arrested at Heathrow Airport by 5 police officers. Why was he arrested upon returning to the United Kingdom? He was arrested because he tweeted some mean stuff. He tweeted stuff that was mean to trans activists. Yeah. All right, so I gotta bring you full circle here with Graham Linehan. Graham Linehan, his star has definitely faded as far as bankability because of a situation that occurred about 10 years ago or so now concerning trans activism. He did a sketch in his show, The It Crowd, starring Matt Berry. There was a sketch where Matt Berry's character was unknowingly dating a trans woman, and they comically get into a fist fight. And because it's a trans woman, it's a funny fist fight. All right, well, that received, backlash from, British people, and like, oh, that was too much. He can't punch a woman. Like, well, but that's not okay, whatever. It is a woman. All right, I'm not going there. Well, he did. He answered a bunch of his critics online back then, 10 years ago. He answered a bunch of them. He was like, he got radicalized, all right? They tried to cancel him. He got really mad. He doubled down. He fought back. And now he is one of the leading anti-trans activists in the world. Him and J.K. Rowling, who, they're like friends on this issue. He doesn't have a problem with trans. And I know this because I have researched all the stuff that he has said. He has a problem with trans activism. He has a problem with the people that he believes tried to cancel him and kind of ruined his career. Although, how could his career be ruined? He still got millions of dollars. So, okay, well, let me show you that. Let me just show you what started this whole thing years ago. Okay, this is a scene from the Graham Linehan series. That's not going to work. Hold on. This is a scene from the Graham Linehan series, The It Crowd. This is Matt Berry and his girlfriend, who was actually born a man. Let's see if we can do this. Yep. All right, here we go. Nope, that's wrong. Holy crap, holy. Sorry, I'm having some problem. All right, again, this is just for context, so we understand how he got radicalized and how this whole situation with him being known as a anti-trans activist and how it ended with him being arrested just over the weekend in Heathrow. Okay, so here's how it started. This is from the It Crowd. This is the episode that began the whole anti-trans thing. Oh, no sound.
But I like you, Douglas. I want to be straight.
There you go.
I could dance around the subject, but I like you, Douglas. I want to be straight with you.
Oh?
I used to be a man, Douglas. I used to be a man. Oh, I wish there was an easier way of saying that, but believe me, there's not. I've had a lot of hormone therapy and a number of operations. I'm really sorry. I hope you don't feel I deceived you. But I understand if you would rather I left.
I don't care.
What?
Doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother you at all?
It takes all sorts to make a world.
Wow! It bothers most men.
I'm not most men. Oh, pop it. To think when we met, you were so worried that you came from Iran.
What?
When we met. As if I'd be worried about something like that. I don't care where you're from. Iran, France, doesn't bother me. I'm very modern.
I'm not from Iran.
Well, you said something along those lines.
No, not Iran. A man. I said I used to be a man.
You used to be a man.
Yes.
Oh, God!
All right, so that's the setup. By the way, if you hold on. If you ever go in, I just lost everything. Hold on. Ugh. All right, hold on a second, guys. That episode, by the way, you can only find it on YouTube. Any of the, like, if you try and binge the It Crowd, you will not find that episode. The BBC has pulled that episode. You're never supposed to see that episode again. All right, so that's how it starts. Let me show you another scene. This is the famous fight scene between him and his girlfriend, who he's just found out was born a man, although he wasn't paying attention to her, and she said that he was born in Iran. So here's the fight scene that caused the big hubbub. Again, we're talking about Graham Linehan. He is a television creator in England who was arrested at Heathrow Airport this past weekend for tweeting about trans
and watch the telly.
There you go.
There'll be no more getting shit.
There you go. I'll start this again.
Darling, can't we do this at home? I was hoping we could get shit-faced and watch the telly.
There'll be no more getting shit-faced and watching the telly. There'll be no more Steven Seagal marathons. And there'll be no more paintballing weekends. I'm afraid our adventure has come to an end.
What? But why?
It's not you, it's me. No, actually, it's not me. It is you.
You don't think of me as a woman, do you?
What? Of course I do.
It bothers you that I used to be a man.
No! I love that you used to be a man. It's your thing. I love thinking about that operation that you had.
Oh, please, look at me. I am a woman. This is a woman in front of you.
Excuse me.
I am a woman.
You're tearing me apart.
Please, Douglas.
I'm sorry. It's beyond my control.
Please, Douglas. Please.
Just go. You're making this harder for me.
How could you do this? How could you do this to me?
You bastard.
So that's it. So that fight scene from the It Crowd from an episode about 10 years ago caused trans activists to come after Graham Linehan, the creator of that show, which caused him to, take a very anti-fuck you kind of attitude towards them. That has developed over the years into, he's basically a shit talker. He goes online and he, fucks with trans activists. Yeah, okay, it's fine, whatever. He was arrested over the weekend in Heathrow upon returning to the United Kingdom because of tweets that he put out. Now, aren't you interested in what these tweets that this guy thought and just put out on Twitter that could have gotten him arrested, right? It's got to be something really terrible. Let me read to you from the story here about this whole situation. It says, one tweet from April 20th of this past year said, here's what it said. If a trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he is committing a violent, abusive act. Make a scene. Call the cops. And if all else fails, punch him in the balls. Okay, it's a joke. It's a punch him in the balls. Get it? Because it's a trans thing. It's a mean joke. You could get on your comedy high horse and be like, it's punching down. But it's a joke. It's a joke. Got himself arrested for that. Also, it says a second tweet on April 19th was a picture of a trans rally. Hold on. It was a picture of a trans rally with the caption reading, "A photo you can smell." It's a fucking celebrity in the United Kingdom who was put in handcuffs publicly by police because he wrote under a picture on Twitter of a trans rally, he wrote, "A picture you can smell." Again, stupid joke. Certainly not good enough for anything that I've seen on the It Crowd. But you get put in handcuffs for that? That's what's happening in the United Kingdom. There are crazy problems in the United Kingdom where it comes to free speech that we don't have here because we've got our right to free speech codified in our Constitution. They don't have it there. So in the UK, you can tweet something like a picture you can smell, which is so incredibly tame compared to some of the other hateful, moronic shit you can see on Twitter. You get yourself arrested in the UK right now. They're trying to make an example of him. Now, I don't find his positions on trans to be necessarily in line with mine, but I certainly don't like the idea that our special relationship neighbor, which the United Kingdom is, somebody that we're very tied to and very close to. I don't like the idea that the very notion of free speech or social media hot takes can land anybody in jail, let alone a high-profile celebrity, which tells me they did this on purpose because they want this to be a story. They want people to know that they will even take down celebrities for being mean to people on social media. You got to just ban social media. You can't just allow social media to exist and then cherry pick people who say things that you think are, insulting or cruel. You can't do that. If you want to control this new thing that's happening, social media and people being connected that way, if you want to control that, you just got to ban it. Because once you start controlling the individual for shit that they think and shit that they post, man, we're getting into some Orwellian, scary shit. Getting into some dystopian areas where all of a sudden, the thought police are monitoring our every brain fart on Twitter. This is nuts. We should be very concerned. It says here, a second tweet in April. The third tweet, here's the third tweet that he said. The third tweet that he was put in handcuffs for was a follow-up to that tweet. So it's a follow-up to the one that said, a photo you can smell. Remember, there was a picture of a trans rally, and he subtweeted a photo you can smell. And then he followed that up with a third, which read, I hate them. Misogynists and homophobes, all of them. Fuck them. That's it. He believes that trans people are misogynists and homophobes. And I don't know. I don't really pay enough attention. I don't know if that's sort of one of the narratives that they put. I don't know. But he thinks it, and he's allowed to think that. And if that's the reason why he doesn't like them, and that reason doesn't satisfy you, well, tough cookies. You can't put that person in prison. Not in the Western world. Not in a world influenced by American exceptionalism. Not in a world. We're supposed to be like they're supposed to be like us. Could you imagine in the United States? Imagine in the United States if, I don't know, let me think of somebody who created, all right, let's do it this way. So who's that Levy guy? Who's Eugene Levy's kid, right? I know this shows how old I am because to me, Eugene Levy is still the star, but his kid who created Schitt's Creek and is now doing all the commercials on TV that Peyton Manning isn't doing. What's that kid's name? Whatever. So imagine that guy. And this is a terrible example because he's Canadian. God damn it. Can I think of an American television show creator? All right, let's say David Chase. David Chase, the creator of The Sopranos. Let's say that he tweets something, about MAGA. I hate MAGA. I hate these people. They're all idiots and they're all misogynists. All right? Guy who created The Sopranos. Imagine he goes out of the country and then comes back in and he's arrested at LAX for that tweet. Be absurd, right? You're like, what the fuck? Well, that is the kind of thing that is being normalized over in the UK. Graham Linehan is just the most recent example. Graham Linehan, creator of Father Ted and, of course, the It Crowd. It says, Linehan has claimed that rather than inciting violence, he was just simply making a bad joke, as that's what he does. He is a well-known comedian. In his suggestion about punching a trans woman if they were only female, I don't know what that, okay, so whatever. That's about kick them in the balls if they're in a public space. That's concerning. I mean, it's concerning. The guy is a comedian. All of a sudden, comedians, I know we've kind of tested that here. A lot of liberals, they hate the Andrew Schultz and the Tim Dillons and all that. I mean, I just hate those guys because they're not great comedians, and they seem to be taking a shortcut to sold-out audiences when they play certain comedy clubs. The MAGA comedy night is very big. They will come out. So, they've tapped into that. Being a comedian is a grind. You got to find your circle. So a lot of those guys have done that. Now imagine, some liberal becomes president and all of a sudden these guys start getting arrested. Right? Anyway, that's the story. That's Graham Linehan. All right, let's move closer to home. And by that, I mean, let's talk about some other comedy stuff. Let's talk about Lorne Michaels. That's who I should have used. I should have used Lorne Michaels as an example. Lorne Michaels, of course, the creator and executive producer of Saturday Night Live for, what is this? We're going into the 51st season, right? So what's he been the executive producer for? Like 48? Something like that, 49. I mean, Dick Ebersol took it over in the 80s for a few years, and then Lorne came back. But I don't know, whatever it is. We're heading into the new season, and as I like to promote myself as, I am a Saturday Night Live historian, so I've been waiting this week. This is the week when we get the new cast announcements. How do I know that? Because it always follows the week where we get the cast departures. And last week was all the cast departures. I got that Wasim guy. He's gone. You got the Devin guy. He's gone. I don't know Devin Walker. I don't know these people's names. They didn't make an impact, so it's obvious they're gone. We also lost Heidi Gardner, but we didn't lose her. She didn't get fired. It was just time for Heidi Gardner to go because, she'll have her own TV show in a couple of weeks. She's ready for whatever is next. As I said yesterday, I'm sure there are a dozen or so scripts floating around that Kristen Wiig has turned down, and Heidi Gardner will scoop those up. So she'll be fine. This is nothing for Heidi Gardner to be embarrassed about. It's just time for her to go. She's a big star on the show. Time for her to go do movies. Michael Longfellow was also released. Michael Longfellow hurt me because that guy's one of the dark spirits of Saturday Night Live. That guy was like dark, but also very funny, very low key. There was potential there. He's a handsome kid. I'm like, you could make money with a handsome kid who's dark like that. That could definitely work. But no, he got fired. He got fired. He got let go. He wasn't happy about it. He's like, I had no idea this was going to happen. So anyway, that was a bummer. So that's the cast changes, the departures. So yesterday during the show, at the end of the show, I was like, I can't believe I don't have a list of new Saturday Night Live cast members to share with you. And then as soon as I signed off, it turns out they released it. So I've got it for you. We're going to do that today. We've got some new people here on Saturday Night Live. Let's talk about them. I am always interested in their background. I'm always interested in where they came from. It's like pro football. My Bears, they draft certain players. Your Cowboys, they draft certain players. You want to know where they came from. You'd like them to come from Alabama, LSU, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Texas, one of the big ones. You're a little bit concerned when they choose someone in the third round out of Appalachian State U, right? You're like, who's this? What? He played where? So along those same lines, I'm always very interested in researching where the Saturday Night Live new cast additions come from, because that tells me a lot about what I can expect from them, whether or not, they've been tested. A good example of that is Groundlings, Upright Citizen Brigade, and the Second City. If you come to Saturday Night Live from the Upright Citizens Brigade, the Groundlings, or the Second City comedy groups, you're going to be great. You're going to be great because those people have already been tested. They've been fire tested on stage. They've got big fancy crowds that come to see them in their big cities. UCB, New York, Second City, Chicago, Groundlings, Los Angeles. Those are all, here we got the Improv and we got a bunch of other comedy clubs. We don't really have this palace of performative sketch comedy here in Dallas like other cities do. And when I say other cities, I think I just mean those three. And Toronto. Toronto's got a great. So I like to see where they came from. And I always get upset when I see people who come from stand-up comedy being added to the cast of Saturday Night Live. Sorry, but stand-up comics suck on Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live is not built for stand-up comics. Very few stand-up comics have done Nothing. Now, there have been a lot of stand-up comics who went on to be famous stand-up comics who then you realize they were on Saturday Night Live and you're like, well, how come I don't remember them? It's because stand-up comics suck on Saturday Night Live. Yeah, Chris Rock was on Saturday Night Live, but he didn't do anything. He was fired. He was fired from Saturday Night Live because they didn't know what to do with him. Because he's not so much an actor or a sketch performer as his training comes from the stand-up stage, which is completely different. A sketch comedy performer, like take a Chris Farley. All right, here's a good example. Chris Farley and Chris Rock. They were both added to the Saturday Night Live cast at the same time. Chris Farley is a god of sketch comedy. He understands how to work in an ensemble. He understands how to make other people funny. He understands when it's time for him to steal the spotlight. That's what comedic actors have. Stand-up comics don't have that. They're solitary. They have to play catch up when they're working with, other sketch comedy actors in some kind of a sketch. So I always get upset. And we've added a couple of stand-up comics, which, okay, whatever. So let's talk about who we got. Let's see. New to the show. That's definitely, nobody cares about that. Tommy Brennan. All right, Tommy Brennan. Let's show this guy. All right, Tommy Brennan, I believe, is a stand-up comic. I'm unfamiliar with him. Although I think maybe I'm not. I think maybe I do know who he is. It's just he's never been so great that I was like, oh, that guy's awesome. Stand-up comic. Whatever. I give everybody a chance. I mean, what an incredible opportunity for anybody who's in the comedy world to get their chance on Saturday Night Live. But here you go. Tommy Brennan has been added to the cast because they needed another white Irish Catholic. Brennan is a comedian from Minnesota who performs stand-up. He's been on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, so he's already kind of made it. All right, here we go. Now this guy, Jeremy Colhane. Let's see what this guy's all about. Let's see. Colhane is a comedian from California who performs with the UCB. There you go. All right, this guy's probably going to be good. He's a UCB guy, Upright Citizens Brigade. He understands. He knows sketch comedy. Less excitement over Tommy Brennan and more over this guy because he comes from the Upright Citizens Brigade. Ben Marshall. This is one we need to spend a minute on. Ben freaking Marshall is gonna be a star. Ben Marshall is hysterical. Ben Marshall has been, for the past 2 years, the funniest thing about the funniest thing on Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live for the last 3 years, the absolute best thing has been, with the exception of the news, because Colin Jost and Che are fantastic. The news has been great. But other than the news, it has been the Please Do Not Destroy videos. Please Do Not Destroy is a comedy group within the Saturday Night Live comedy group. Please Do Not Destroy was this guy, Ben Marshall, and two other Nepo babies. That's Higgins. Is Gruber? Who is it? Anyway, there were 3 of them. Please Do Not Destroy. They made funny videos for the last couple of years. And Ben Marshall is the only one who does not have a father who was a head writer at Saturday Night Live. There you go. That's the best way to say it. The other 2 guys who are very funny. But both of those guys' daddies were executive producers or head writers at Saturday Night Live. So they're like Nepo babies. Ben Marshall was the only one who wasn't. And Ben Marshall, sketch in, sketch out, or we should say pre-taped video in, pre-taped video out. He was the guy that popped for me. I'm like, that dude is funny. That guy's facial expressions. So Ben Marshall has been added to the actual cast of Saturday Night Live. Nay, I think he's a featured performer. Not the actual cast. He's a featured performer. And there's a slight difference there. Mostly about pay. So you get paid a lot less. But they've destroyed Please Don't Destroy. We asked, please don't destroy this, and they destroyed it. There is no more Please Don't Destroy. Ben Marshall has been added to the cast, and the other 2 guys are gone. The other 2 guys, let's see here. It says Marshall is a comedian from Georgia who previously joined SNL as a writer in 2021. He's appeared on the show as part of Please Don't Destroy, a comedy trio that produces digital shorts. All right. I don't know where the rest of them are going, but whatever. They are funny as a threesome. I mean, The Lonely Island was incredible with, who's that guy? What's his name? Andy Samberg and Yorma. And great. Lonely Island was great. When Lonely Island left Saturday Night Live, I was like, oh, wah. And then Please Don't Destroy showed up. So I've got hope that there will be a new one, that there will be a new group of, they're basically just YouTubers. They're basically just people who make funny YouTube videos brought to Saturday Night Live. There will be a new one. There will be a new one. All right, how about this girl? She was added. This is Veronica Slowakowska. Quite the name, Veronica Slowakowska. She is not a stand-up. She is a comedic actress. She is an actress. I'm a fan of the show What We Do in the Shadows. I've already mentioned it. We talked about Matt Berry earlier when we were doing the Graham Linehan being arrested at Heathrow story. What We Do in the Shadows is one of my favorite sitcoms of all time. I think it's hysterical. And Veronica was in it. Veronica, this is where I know her from. When I saw her, I went, oh my God. She played a college roommate of a vampire. And she thought that the vampire, she didn't know the vampire was a vampire. She thought the vampire was always just sick. So she was trying to be very helpful to her vampire roommate, running out to the store to get Dayquil and all that. Anyway, she's funny. She's funny. And I'm just looking at her. I'm looking at Veronica Slowakowska added to the cast of Saturday Night Live. I'm looking at her. I bet you Chloe Feynman's going to be mean to her. I think Chloe Feynman's going to be mean to her. I think that this girl, Veronica, is a new, petite, cute little blonde who is, going to maybe play some roles that Chloe Feynman might have thought it was her role. I'm just saying. I think Chloe Feynman's probably going to be a woman about this. What do you mean a woman? They're territorial. All right. She's good. Veronica Slowakowska. I like her. Cam Patterson. He's a stand-up comic. Very familiar with him. He's not very good. He's part of the Kill. Well, I mean, I've seen him through the Kill Tony stuff, and he's one of the weaker. If I'm being honest, he's one of the comics that Kill Tony is allowed to have on there so that they can be racist. They're like, we want to do racist jokes. Well, we need to have some black guys. I am not impressed by Cam Patterson. He's a stand-up comedian. I hope that maybe he's got some chops as an actor, because that's the issue that I have with stand-up comedians coming to Saturday Night Live. Yeah, sure, they will be great on Weekend Update where they can sit there and they can do like a spoken word comedy bit, but try and put them in a sketch and it's like, what do you do with them? They didn't know what the fuck to do, okay, with Pete Davidson. I know everybody's like, he was so great on Saturday Night Live. Name one thing he was known for. Name one thing. Pete Davidson didn't explode on Saturday Night Live because he was such an irreplaceable member of the cast. Pete Davidson exploded because he started dating Ariana Grande and then Kim Kardashian. Pete Davidson, however, has turned into quite an interesting young actor who I think has a nice career there. But he was a stand-up, and he sucked. They didn't know what to do with him. Eddie Murphy is a tremendous example of somebody who came from stand-up comedy who then turns out, holy shit, he's just as good at sketch. Eddie Murphy was a kid stand-up comedian out there on Long Island when he was discovered for Saturday Night Live at 19 years old. That was all he knew was stand-up comedy. But that fucker, some of the most unforgettable characters and sketches in the history of Saturday Night Live were created or performed by Eddie Murphy. And as a guy who came from stand-up, he's the exception that proves the rule. Adam Sandler came from stand-up. But also he was doing some comedic sketch stuff. Adam Sandler, before Saturday Night Live, was a part of the Remote Control on MTV cast, where he participated in bits and sketches. So I don't know if Adam Sandler was like a traditional stand-up. All right, Cam Patterson, though, like, look, I don't wish anybody poor, but we just got rid of Devin Walker because they didn't know what to do with him, because Devin Walker was a black, handsome, young man, stand-up comedian who didn't have acting chops, who couldn't do the stage work, who was not capable of being in an ensemble sketch. So Devin Walker's gone. And I think they just replaced him with another one who we might be looking at the same situation. Prove me wrong. I hope so. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's got Saturday Night Live Eddie Murphy level chops. And then I'll be like, okay, it's all right that he's not that funny of a comedian, because he's not. He's real. He's what's nice. He's a character comedian. He's all about his energy and the way he, it's like that. And it's like, okay, I can't relate to any of the shit you're talking about. Maybe I just said it. I can't relate to him. His content, his things he finds funny, I do not necessarily find funny. And maybe that's why he's been added, because Saturday Night Live doesn't give a rat's ass if I continue to watch. They don't care about me. I've aged out of their demo. They can't sell advertising to somebody like me. What they want are people in their 20s. So maybe people in their 20s who are big fans of the whole Kill Tony kind of thing. Maybe they're fans of Cam, what's his name? I keep wanting to say Cam Jordan. Cam Patterson. I just don't find him funny. I just don't. Well, that's unfair. I'll tell you who else doesn't find him funny. Ari Shaffir. Ari Shaffir, who I find infinitely funny, does not get this guy at all. He's talked about it. But also, if you watch any of the Kill Tonys, it's kind of become a bit. If Ari Shaffir is anywhere in the background, watch him when this guy, Cam Patterson, is performing. He just shakes his head and he's like, this is stupid comedy. This is not good comedy. Anyway, I wish him luck. I mean, honestly, I just don't know why they didn't keep Devin Walker. I mean, why not just keep Devin Walker if you need, because, Pugs, what are you saying? It's black guy for black guy? Yeah, it is. Sorry. Hate to be so bold about it, but it is. They fired a black guy, so that means they have to hire a black guy, because that's how Saturday Night Live works. Remember Leslie Jones? They fired, they fired some black girl who was on the cast. Let's just say, I don't know, Ellen Cleghorn. I don't know who it was. They fired some black woman, and then it turned into a bit of a story that they're racist. They don't have any black women. And so then like a week later, they're like, we've just added 2 black women. They added Ego Wodum and Leslie Jones. Ego Wodum is one of the greats. Ego Wodum is incredible. She deserves to be there. She's fantastic. Leslie Jones sucked. Leslie Jones had one speed. She had one bit, and that was to just kind of be an angry black lady. That was it. That was all she had. But they were pressured into hiring her because they got called racist. And hey, all I can say is that the good news there is that Ego Wodum is a baller. One of my all-time favorite females. Her Dionne Warwick is funny. I still laugh when she gets her Dionne Warwick going. All right. Cam Patterson. There you go. All right. That's the new cast. What is this? Is that the old cast? That's Walton Goggins. All right, let's look at these people. Hold on. All right. Cecily Strong. She's gone. Here's Ego. There's my girl, Ego. Look at her right there. She was great. By the way, Leslie Jones is gone because they didn't know what to do with her. I know the story was she's going to be a big star. How'd that work out? All you people who are like, Leslie Jones is leaving Saturday Night Live. She's the funniest thing that Saturday Night Live's had in 10 years. And I'm like, she's not funny at all. She's relatively charming, I suppose, and might be fun to go on a car ride with. But I don't know that she's Saturday Night Live doubled over character impersonations, sketch work funny. Okay. And look, it's been like 6 years. We haven't heard shit from Leslie Jones. Oh, thought she was in the new Happy Gilmore for whatever. I don't know. I'm sure she's doing small bits. She did not become Kristen Wiig. Kristen Wiig is a leading actress. She did not become, can't name anybody else. I'm sorry. You know what I do want to do though? I want to go through, I want to explore a little bit more my whole thing about Saturday Night Live and the difference. Let's see, let's try this. The difference between sketch performers in the history of Saturday Night Live and stand-up comedians. All right, let's just I want to take the 1991 cast, okay? This is the 1991 Saturday Night Live cast. And why is this important? Because this was a year, maybe it was 1990, but I'm looking at it. It's this cast. I don't know if this was this cast's first year. This was the year that Lorne Michaels, for the first time, really went after comedians, stand-up comedians, where he went, there's no reason that they should all just be sketch players. Maybe we should invite some stand-up comedians, some young stand-ups. And if you remember, 1991, stand-up comedy was booming. There was every strip mall, every strip mall that now has a vape shop, every strip mall had a comedy club back in 1991. So it was booming. So he went in and he got himself a number of stand-up comedians. So let's go through this 1991 cast from Saturday Night Live. Let's see who the stand-ups are. David Spade, stand-up comedian. He came to Saturday Night Live from the Young Comedian special or something on HBO. He was a pretty good stand-up comedian. Turned out to be a limited sketch performer. Like, he played the snarky, condescending guy. But he didn't have a lot of range because he's a stand-up comedian and he never took acting classes. All right. Let's move through here. Mike Myers, not a stand-up comedian. Tremendous sketch player and comedic actor. Adam Sandler. Again, like I said, I don't know that he was doing stand-up comedy, but he was also equally known for doing comic impersonations and comic performances within a sketch. The MTV game show Remote Control. He was Stud Boy. That was the first time he was Stud Boy and he was another character. It's the first time I ever saw Adam Sandler. We loved him as Stud Boy on Remote Control. And then all of a sudden he's on Saturday Night Live. So don't come at me with Adam Sandler was a stand-up comedian. I think Adam Sandler is a comedic actor who can also do stand-up comedy. Dana Carvey. Dana Carvey was not a stand-up comedian, although he dabbled in it. His training is in comic acting. Phil Hartman, not a stand-up comic. Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider was a stand-up comic, which is why he's one of the most under-impressive members in Saturday Night Live history. He was not great. Tim Meadows, he's just a comedic actor, and, he's take him or leave him. Chris Farley, one of the greats of all time, not a stand-up comic. Chris Farley never got up and went, hey, everybody, tip your waitress. Chris Farley never did that. Chris Farley is sort of the quintessential from the cut of the Murrays and the Belushis. He is a Saturday Night Live killing machine. Julia Sweeney, I don't know. She's a sketch performer, I think. Kevin Nealon. Kevin Nealon was a stand-up comic. Kevin Nealon was a stand-up comic, and if you remember him on Saturday Night Live, what did he do? The news. Because they couldn't really use him to play characters and stuff and to create, Chris Rock. Chris Rock, here you go. One of the greatest stand-up comedians of the last 50 years and one of the worst Saturday Night Live cast members ever. Ask Chris Rock about his time on Saturday Night Live. He didn't know how to do anything. He wasn't an actor. He came from the world of stand-up comedy. He created Nat X. That was it. And that ran like 3 or 4 times, and then he was gone. They were like, this Chris Rock guy, he ain't good. Let's get rid of him. He leaves Saturday Night Live and then creates one of the single greatest stand-up comedy specials of all time. So Chris Rock is doing what he's supposed to do, which is a Mount Rushmore level stand-up comedian in America. Did not do well on Saturday Night Live, Chris Rock. How about Victoria Jackson? Right here, Victoria Jackson. She's an actress. Ellen Cleghorn, an actress. Al Franken, he's an actor. He's a comedic actor and writer. Siobhan Fallon, she's an actress. A. Whitney Brown, he was a comedian. He's a writer and stand-up comedian. But A. Whitney Brown, again, what did A. Whitney Brown do on Saturday Night Live? What was his contribution? The news. He was a guest on the news set where he would look into the camera and he would say something funny that he wrote by himself because he doesn't work with people. Dennis Miller, another terrific example. This is like probably the best example. If you can get a comedian like Dennis Miller to do your news the way they have now with Michael Che, then you're fine. Dennis Miller never appeared in a sketch. Dennis Miller, talk about being one-dimensional, but his one-dimensional was as one of the best news hosts in Saturday Night Live history. Dennis Miller cannot act, okay? Dennis Miller can act like Dennis Miller, the stand-up comic. That's his whole bit. And then we got Jan Hooks, the late, great Jan Hooks. I love her. All right, so there you go. 1991 was the year that they first started truly folding in stand-up comedians instead of staying true to the original idea of Saturday Night Live, which was sketch comedy or improv performers on television. David Spade, stand-up comic. Adam Sandler, stand-up comic. Rob Schneider, stand-up comic. Kevin Nealon, stand-up comic. A. Whitney Brown, stand-up comic. And Dennis Miller, stand-up comic. There you go. That's the cast from 1991. It's a totally forgettable cast. Probably not one of the great years. Al is in the chat room. Al talking about Chris Rock. Al says that Chris Rock is a great voice actor, though. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, okay. Let's be fair. Stop. Okay. Stop. Yeah. Chris Rock's also 60 now. Chris Rock has also been now doing acting since, appearing in a movie here. I think his first movie was Beverly Hills Ninja. I mean, you can learn and you can train. But when you are hired onto the cast at Saturday Night Live and you're 22, 23, and you don't come from a training background, you just come from the stand-up stage, I'm telling you, I don't have a whole lot of faith in you being a awesome member of Saturday Night Live. And they did it. They went a little bit heavy with stand-up comedians this year. But hey, who knows? Prove me wrong, man. That's what watching that show is all about. Good times. All right. Ross says Dana Carvey was definitely a stand-up first. No, he wasn't. He was an actor. He did stand-up. I know all about the history of Dan. Yes, you saw him. He was also a member of the Young Comedians. But if you ask Dana Carvey, and he said this in a podcast just recently, I don't know if you listened to the podcast he does with Spade. It's terrific. He said, it felt like pulling teeth when I had to do stand-up comedy. He was doing stand-up comedy to pay the bills. But Dana Carvey does not think of himself as a stand-up comic. He thinks of himself as a comedic actor. And my God, all you got to do is look at the characters that he created. But I see you. I mean, I get it. Yeah. A lot of times, great comedic actors, improv performers, people who, their main job is to create shows at the UCB, the Groundlings, or the Second City. These guys go up and do stand-up comedy. They will go up and they'll get on a bill for $100 on a Friday night to do something because they can pull that off, because a trained stage actor can perform as if they're a stand-up comic. You get it? Doesn't work the other way. Stand-up comics just can't go, you know what? Tonight I'm going to go be on the main stage of the Second City. I'm just going to jump in. Just going to go for it. No training, no nothing. I don't know the rules, but... What's Adam talking about? Ari? He says, I played Ari Shaffir in ping pong at Moon Tower Comedy Festival. He ended up getting second place and he knocked me out in the semis. So I claim I got fifth place. They can't take that from me. I love Ari Shaffir. Ari Shaffir is one of the... Ari Shaffir used to... Was it with Joe or was it with somebody else? I think it was Doug, the first Doug Stanhope. Doug Stanhope was a big fan of not fan. I'm a big fan of Doug. Doug was a regular on our old talk radio show, but so was Joe. So was Rogan back in the day. And Ari, I think Ari came around with both of them. I mean, I know now in modern times he's like associated with Rogan and stuff like that, but I think it was Doug Stanhope. And Ari wasn't famous at this point. Doug was, but Ari was like, his middler guy. And Ari had the Amazing Racist bit. I don't know if you remember that. And I remember seeing this guy who I'd never heard of before do the Amazing Racist bit. And I thought, this is the bravest comic in America. And here we are 15 years later or so. And every time I see some new Ari Shaffir comedy, I'm like, he's still the bravest fucking comic in America. He doesn't care. I love Ari Shaffir. Let's see here. What is Adam? Help me out here. What is it? They added Shashir Zameda for your information. You always get that wrong. I don't know. Yeah, I don't get it wrong. The name rings familiar, but yeah, I don't need to take up space in my head for the contributions of Zahir Zameda on Saturday Night Live because that person is totally unfamiliar to me, and forgettable. But, again, talking about comedy, there are people that I think have been absolutely terrible on Saturday Night Live that people are like, they're my favorite. And you got to respect that because comedy doesn't have a formula. You can either make somebody laugh, and it's about the individual. You want to be able to make the entire room laugh. But who knows? You might just make one person laugh and everybody else is like, I don't get it. So Adam's a big fan of Zamir Shambuda. What? What is the name? Shabir Shabab? All right, let's keep going. What else do we have here? Should we do that? Yeah, we'll do this. All right. So I'm not fully up on this, and you guys might want to look into this on your own, but what's going on with the LA Clippers? What is this story? What did the LA Clippers do? Like, it wasn't enough that the LA Clippers were like the racist team with the Sterling owner who like didn't want his girlfriend being around. So apparently the LA Clippers, in their attempt to lock up Kawhi Leonard, you know what? I'm going to let Pablo Torre tell us about this. Pablo Torre is a terrific sports journalist. He's making a lot of people upset recently with this podcast. He does investigative journalism into sports stories, and he's got a big one here. Concerns the Clippers, the Los Angeles Clippers of the National Basketball League. Let's listen to this for a second.
Is to clear your conscience and your executives were suspicious of how Steve Ballmer's Clippers landed the most valuable free agent on the market, Kawhi Leonard. That the NBA did not find that Ballmer got Kawhi by sweetening their offer. Mm-hmm. But also that in March 2025, this celebrity-endorsed, multi-billion-dollar, allegedly fraudulent tree brokerage named Aspiration, which promises to clear your conscience and your emissions, they file for bankruptcy. And this is where the clue is. What David's looking at with his glasses on is a bankruptcy filing, and there's a list of creditors. The entities to which Aspiration, in all of their alleged fraudulence, still owes the most money. And what I noticed is what David is noticing right now, which is that on that list of creditors, up near the top, above the Boston Red Sox, is an LLC. A tiny little company that Aspiration owes $7 million. And that LLC's name, David, is what?
KL2 Aspire LLC.
And what does it list there under manager or member name?
Kawhi Leonard.
Whose NBA jersey number, just to connect all of the dots here, happens to be what?
Number 2.
All right, let me explain what's going on here. Just because, if you haven't been following it. So, how were they able to afford Kawhi Leonard with all of the rules and regulations in the NBA and all of that? So here's basically what they did. They created a fake company. Now, I don't know if Kawhi Leonard, I got to watch that whole thing. I've just been reading like Twitter trolls comment on the sports pages that I follow. So what the Clippers did was they invented a fake tree planting company. Like they went, hey, let's start a company where we plant trees. So they started a company where they plant trees. And then apparently they signed Kawhi Leonard to be like the spokesperson for this tree planting company. They signed him for like millions of dollars. So it's not the Clippers who were paying Kawhi Leonard because apparently there are some restrictions on how much they're, that kind of thing. No, so instead of that, it's this, no, Kawhi Leonard's making $80 million a year from a tree planting service. So Pablo Torre has uncovered that. More bad news for the Clippers. I don't know. Like I said, I got to really dig into that, but all I know is just the basic, bullet points of the story, and it doesn't look good. And it looks like, my God, the Clippers just cannot, again, dick tripping. The Clippers just keep tripping over their own dicks. All right, let's keep going. What else do we have? Oh, The Rock. You want to look at The Rock picture? So this picture of The Rock has been circulating. Apparently he did some kind of big red carpet event over the weekend, and people were like, what happened to The Rock? Well, couple of things happened to The Rock. He got older. And the other thing that happened to The Rock is that he stopped doing roids. Okay. I would say that's, so here on the left, we've got a picture of The Rock. As we know, The Rock, this is Baller's Rock. This is, can you smell what The Rock is cooking rock? Right. And this is the new Rock. This is The Rock who's dating your mom. Right. This is your new stepdad, Dwayne. Okay. So let's look at this. Make this a little bit bigger so it's easier for you guys to see it. All right. This is, if you've ever known people, or I guess you don't have to know them, but just like a professional football player. I'll put it to you this way. Have you seen Dallas Cowboy offensive lineman legend Mark Stepnowski lately? Have you seen him? He doesn't look like he played center. He didn't look like he played center on one of the best offensive lines in NFL history. Seriously, Mark Stepdowski's like 6'1" and 120 pounds now. And you're like, what? And he's still got the long fucking hippie hair and all that. He's cool. Step is cool. But after these guys stop training and stop working out and stop building muscle for, whatever, for power, or in Rock's case, beach muscle, so that he looks good, these guys get tiny. They get tiny. Show me an offensive lineman from the NFL who retired last year. Show him to me now. And I bet he's unrecognizable. I bet he's 70 pounds less. Or it goes the other way. They either turn like this, which is an obvious difference. I mean, look at his shoulders. Look at this. He's got giant muscles here. And then look at these. These are, by the way, this Dwayne, the guy who's dating your mom, the guy here on the right, this Dwayne, he'll still kick your ass. That dude will still kick your ass. This dude is still yoked, okay? I know he's wearing kind of a funny Tommy Bahama stepdad shirt and all that, but that dude is yoked. He's not as crazy yoked as this guy over here. But yeah, this is just what happens when you stop with the, all I do is drink protein powder. I've done it for the last 5 years. I mean, this is what happens. You start to get a normal looking body. Pro athletes do it all the time. The Rock is doing it now. I imagine The Rock is doing it. Why? Because maybe he wants to actually be an actor. Maybe instead of just always being, The Rock, Crush Skull, or whatever he does, maybe he's got designs on being an actual actor. Maybe he would like to be able to disappear into a role and not always be a glaring reminder of the WWE, which is what this version of Rock looks like. So there you go. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He looks normal. He looks normal. He looks kind of dorky, right? But don't get it twisted. That dude will still kick your ass. That dude in the Tommy Bahama shirt, he's still just ripped and yoked. His cardio's probably great. All right, let's talk about Fred Savage. Apparently, Fred Savage is a perv, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, Fred Savage seems like a really nice guy, right? The Wonder Years, that's what we think of, right? Apparently, Fred Savage is a jerk. Now, a number of years ago, I guess there was an attempt to cancel Fred Savage. Fred Savage was, I don't know, apparently he sexually harassed a couple of makeup women back in the early 2000s. And I don't know where it went. Canceling Fred Savage in 2020 or whenever the hell this thing went down is just absurd to me, because Fred Savage hasn't done anything in 20 years. But okay, we need our pound of flesh. So it was a long time ago. Well, recently, apparently, you remember Ben Savage, his little brother who played Corey on Boy Meets World? Not a show I ever saw, but I am a student of pop culture, and that is a show that resonates with a certain demographic. So I am familiar with Boy Meets World, Topanga and whatnot. I'm familiar with Topanga because the original producer of the Pugs and Kelly show was a guy named, oh my God, I just completely blanked on Tom Frankowitz's name, and I should be shot for that. Why did I forget Tom's name for a second? So the original producer of the Pugs and Kelly show was a guy who did watch Boy Meets World because he was about 10 years younger than me and Kelly. And he loved this Topanga character. And I was just always like, I don't see it. I don't see it. Maybe that's good because she was like 17 and I was 30. But I didn't see it. I never understood. Apparently there's a whole generation of millennials who think Topanga from the show was hot. I'm like, she's fucking got a weird face, man. She's got a very cartoon face. All right, anyway, point is this. Apparently, Fred Savage, back when Boy Meets World was on the air, apparently it was season 6, Fred Savage went on his little brother's show. Remember, his little brother is Ben Savage, star of Boy Meets World, said boy in Boy Meets World. They brought in the older brother, Fred Savage. Hey, Fred's going to do a very special Boy Meets World. So Fred Savage comes in. I guess they were in college at this point, and Fred Savage was playing like a college professor who tries to hit on Topanga. And he's being really creepy. So anyway, people are now talking about how that is actually how he is in real life. And the people who are involved with that show, Boy Meets World, they do a podcast now. And they break down every episode. And apparently they started talking a little bit about Fred Savage on a recent episode when the episode that he guested on was under the spotlight. So Let's talk about that. It says allegations against Fred Savage explored as Danielle Fishel explains why the actor's controversy wasn't discussed. Danielle Fishel, that's the Topanga girl, right? All right, it says here the hosts of Pod Meets World podcast shared why they did not discuss Fred Savage's controversy. Well, okay, so they didn't talk about it. Apparently the premise of this podcast, for a show that I never watched, so I'll never listen to the podcast. Apparently the premise of the podcast is that three of the main actors from the show sit and rewatch old episodes, and then they comment on what was going on. So the controversy here is that when they were doing the Fred Savage episode, nobody brought up that he was playing a sexual predator and then in real life was actually accused of being a sexual predator. All right, the story's weird. All I saw was Fred Savage, and I went, okay, let's tear down that golden goose. It says, for the unversed, in the podcast, the three actors, Ryder Strong. This actor's name is Ryder Strong. Is that a guy or a girl? It better be a guy, and he should be in male. He should be in porn, right? Ryder Strong? That's not a porn star name? All right, anyway, the three hosts of this show are Ryder Strong, Danielle Fishel, and Will Friedle. They rewatch Boy Meets World episodes, and then they comment on it. Ben Savage, Fred Savage's little brother, is not involved with this. It says here, Ben was supposed to become a co-host on the podcast. However, he later changed his mind. Fred Savage had a cameo on the show in the 6th season episode titled Everybody Loves Stuart. In the episode, Fred played a teacher who made inappropriate sexual gestures. Oh, we've got a cut. We've got a clip. Let's do this. Okay. Hey, anybody want to watch an old episode of Boy Meets World where Fred Savage acts like a pervy predator?
Stuart.
All right, hold on. All right, so here's Adam. He got fired from the Wonder Years remake because he was a creep. Yes, that's, look, you want to be detailed about it. They were remaking the Wonder Years for, a new generation, and he was one of the executive producers, and I think he was also a director on a couple of episodes. And because of the makeup artist situation, he was let go from the show, which, whatever. Because Adam knows he's a creep. He's like, because he's a creep. Because Adam wants to believe. I don't know. I don't care. I just think it's fun to talk about. I think it's fun when you take who we think he is as Kevin Arnold from the Wonder Years and then learn that he's like an ass-grabbing perv. So, okay. By the way, I understand that my explanation of this story is very convoluted because I'm jumping all over the place. But really, let's just watch this clip and then we'll go from there. All right, this was Fred Savage's guest spot on Boy Meets World. The one that is the origin for this rekindling of talking about how he is actually in real life kind of a sex perv.
Stuart, hey, Romeo. Listen, can I talk to you on the patio for a second?
So these are brothers, right? I mean, I know that's Fred Savage, but that's Ben Savage, right? That's Ben Savage? I never watched the show. I think it is.
Corey, your paper was pedestrian. And this isn't high school anymore. You gotta take chances.
We're not talking about the paper. Yeah? Yeah, Topanga's real uncomfortable about your dorm visit.
Why?
She thought you were hitting on her.
What if I was?
What if I was?
My soap opera name is Patrick Trailer Park.
Well, mine is Shenane Martin Luther King Boulevard. Gosh, I gotta get some black friends.
So, Topanga, what's your middle name?
I don't want to play.
Yeah, see, that's not Topanga. I don't think she's that hot.
Why not?
I have a weird middle name.
Your first name's Topanga.
Hey, is this redhead? Is she the porn star? Didn't one of these kids go on to be a porn star? I know nothing about this show except for all the absolute worst details. This chick's a porn star, right? Do I have that right? Chat room, come on. Some of you in the chat room, I know you're millennials, and I know you know a lot about this show. I think that's the chick who became a porn star.
What could your middle name be, Shmoo Boogie?
Congratulations. You just got yourself kicked out of college.
Okay, all right, there you go. So that's the episode that they were rewatching, and apparently they failed to rip into Fred Savage, so there was blowback amongst the fan base. It was like, why didn't you talk about this? So now they're actually doing a special podcast where they are going to talk about exactly what they didn't want to talk about. Here's what they said. Said they didn't want to talk about it during the podcast because they are friends with Ben Savage and that the Savage family is incredibly private. That's not an excuse. What you're saying there is that, yeah, you don't want to talk about the truth about people because, you know, you're not quite as upset about it as maybe you're pretending you would be. Right? I mean, if you're like, you just can't be a predator, but then you're like, oh, I'm not going to mention it because they're good people. The Savage family is good people. And I may want to work with them again. They're still doing directing, and I'm not a big A-lister. I need the work, so... Anyway, Fred Savage, I just learned this morning that he was big perv. Apparently, Adam's been tracking this for years, as he knows more of the details. Frank, all right, there you go. Frank says Boy Meets World. He was a P1. He was a big fan of it. Totally missed it. Don't even know what the premise is. What is the premise? I mean, it's a mid-90s millennial targeted situation comedy. So I guess there's not a lofty premise. It was all... Seriously, those millennials, you guys with your Full House and your Saved by the Bell and all that bullshit. You guys had terrible shows. We had good shows. Gen X before you, we had good shows. We had Chips. We had Starsky and Hutch. Yeah, prostitutes all over Starsky and Hutch. I'm like 9 years old watching Starsky and Hutch. It's like, oh, this is fine for the kid. And it's like, hey, Starsky's busting a bunch of streetwalkers in this episode. You guys all had this candy ass shit. Seriously, he punched out. The premise of that sketch or scene that we just watched was that the teacher admitted that he was trying to bang the student, and so he was so outraged he punched him. I don't buy it. That's what teachers do. Or college teachers. I want to fix that. College teachers of students who are over 18. Frankie says, a precocious situation comedy about a middle class school and high school and college. Okay, whatever. There you go. Good synopsis. Adam's a big, Adam, you a big Saved by the Bell? Saved by the Bell. See, I'd Saved by the Bell. I wasn't my thing. Saved by the Bell. Saved by the Bell was for 12-year-olds. 10, 11, 12, 13. That's who Saved by the Bell was for when it was originally on. I was 20, right? I was like, I am not interested in that. That is high school. What are they in junior high? Anyway, I appreciated the chicks, though. I was man enough to be able to look at Saved by the Bell and go, va-va-boom. Va-va-boom. All right, what else do we have here? Fred Savage is a perp. I really shit the bed on that story. I was not prepared on that story, and I apologize to you for that. Okay, let's do this. Did you see this? This is going around today. Here's another person who I don't know who they are. Actually, that's not true. I don't want to. I know who this person is because my son thinks this person is funny. Do you guys know this Drewski character? He's like a YouTuber comedian who is now like a super millionaire because he owns a bunch of companies and he's like a huge star in that world or whatever. I've heard of him through my kid. My kid, I think, has sent me some things. Drewski. He is a comedian. He's a kid who was like some broke-ass college kid, and he ended up just making YouTube videos, and they took off because he's got talent, and that's one of the things about YouTube. If you've got talent, you can be discovered by the masses. Then you can monetize your own level of talent, which is so great. Gatekeepers, be damned. YouTube is now on the scene. So that's what he did. He just went, I want to be famous. I want to be funny. I want to be a comedian. So he started making shit and he blew up in social media and blah, blah. That's how it happens now. So let me show you what he looks like, just in case you're unfamiliar with Drewski, because this story is pretty amazing. We'll watch a video here. Here's what he looks like. This is Drewski. There you go. All right. So he's a comedian, young man. Let's see more pictures of her. Come on. There he is right there. Okay, right? That's how I know him. I know him with the bleached blonde hair. That's how I see him. All right, so Drewski, he's a comedian. He's a very successful comedian. I mean, I know if you're like me, you're like, I never heard of him. Like, oh, yeah, it's because we're old and we're not really in on things. He's very successful. All right. So he did this thing. He went to a NASCAR race in whiteface. Yeah. He made a video where he got made up as a white hillbilly and he went to NASCAR. It's trending today. Let's watch this. And it is amazing. I'm reminded, we talked earlier about Saturday Night Live, and it reminds me of the old Saturday Night Live sketch with Eddie Murphy, White Like Me. Do you remember the great Eddie Murphy sketch, White Like Me, where Eddie Murphy was made up to look like a white man, and he went out on the streets of New York, and the bit was that life is so much better for white men. Like, he tried to buy a newspaper, and it was free, because it's free for white men. You know? Very funny. White Like Me. It's on YouTube. You can find it. One of Eddie Murphy's great early contributions on Saturday Night Live. So basically, Drewski is doing that same thing, except he clicked it up a notch. He went to NASCAR. You saw what he looks like. Watch this and just marvel at the makeup job, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. Who are these people? Can we just marvel at the makeup job on his arms and on, I mean, just look at the farmer's tan, the fake makeup farmer's tan where he's all sunburned up on the shoulders. Crazy. All right, so he's not just playing a random white, he's playing a racist white guy. I guess that's, something that he's going for. Look at that wig. Oh, shit. None of that showed. Yeah, I know. Fuck it. God damn it, I need a new platform. This thing, seriously. Oh, fellas, I'm sorry. All right, we'll do it again. I'll try and do it again, and I'll stay on the page to make sure that it doesn't fall off again. I just realized it fell off. All right, here you go. Here he was. Watch this. Drewski at NASCAR dressed as a white guy.
Here's the love. Here's the honor. If you can't come in her, come on her. Yeah! Hey, Suanna.
She's not listening.
Hey, come on. You need to listen to your nana. Go ahead, baby.
600.
Girl, you crazy now.
All right, that's it. We don't need to watch the whole thing again. Unfortunately, I watched the whole thing. That is incredible comedic acting on a day when we were talking about being able to create a character from nothing. Drewski, a black stand-up comic, had some of the most incredible makeup work that I've ever seen and went to a NASCAR race. That's funny. You can see the whole thing. He's wearing this, these bib overalls, and he's a black guy. He's got black skin, and all of his exposed skin is white. So that's got to be makeup. Like, it's all makeup. But then also, he's got a farmer's tan where his shoulders and half of his arms are sunburned. So it's just so good. All right, it's a funny guy. All right, one more thing. I'm going to leave you with this, and this is I'd like to leave this on a happy note. Right? Let's watch something that can make us all laugh, something that we're all going to enjoy. This is wait, is this the news story or is this the video? I don't want the news story. I just want the video because all we need to do is watch this. All right, here you go. This comes to us from, I think this is in Turkey. Whatever. It's a rich guy having a bad day because isn't that what we all crave? Images of rich guys having a bad day. This is in Turkey. It's a brand new multi-million-dollar yacht. And let's watch what happens with this dude's brand new multi-million-dollar yacht. Here we go. This is in Turkey. Check this out. I feel good. A little something for, us to end the show on. Watch this. Fascinating how we do this, right? Right, so far so good. Is it me or is it, I believe the word is listing? Is it listing a little to the right? Sort of feels like it. It's not there. Here's your brand new multi-million-dollar yacht. Oh, yeah, it's definitely listing. Oh, yeah, we got a problem. We got a problem. Oh, no. Oh, oh. How much you pay for this? What? How many millions? What? There it goes. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. There it is. There it is. Oh, I hope that made your day. I love it. Some rich guy who's spending millions of dollars on a boat, fucking idiot, spending it, dumps it in the water, and 15 minutes later it lists all the way over to its side. Doesn't get any better than that. All right, guys, that's it. We're going to be done here. I appreciate you. I wanna remind you one more time that we are trying to raise money to stay on the air. We're trying to make our nut for this month. If you can tip a little something, that would be great. Because we've gotten one tip, $5. We made $5. That's pretty fucking horrifying. Fucking horrifying, if I'm being honest. But I'm trying to stay in good. We're gonna be okay. I understand the Trump economy. I mean, I understand it. Nobody can support these kinds of things anymore. But it's been 5 years. We've been doing it for almost 5 years. Well, 4 years. We've just finished 4 complete years every day doing talk radio for what I hope is for normal people. Although I'm not really normal at all, so what do I know? Anyway, there you go. Yeah, you can just tip the show, drop us something in Venmo. Help us out, please. I mean, there's no way we're going to make $200 in the next 3 days, but maybe we can make, I don't know. Doesn't matter. See how frustrated I get? I'm such a phony. Why don't I just go with it? Why don't I just rent? Because that's a terrible look. Because I chose to do this. Sometimes the stream of consciousness will get you in trouble and you'll say something to, thank you, Al. Look at this is what it's for. This is what it's for. Look at this. Every day at the end of the show, Al says, you're awesome, Pugs. Whether he means it or not, right? That's nice. Now, I'm not saying I agree with him. I certainly don't. But it is a nice thing to read. And if you can do that first, I told Al, I was like, hey, Al, by the way, you know how every day at the end of the show, you say you're awesome and I never respond or anything? I see it every fucking day. And every day I look at that and I'm like, oh man, one person likes this. Now, I know that other people like it. I mean, not a lot, but some of you. But that's just a fucking human kindness that he does every single day. So thank you, Al. That's really cool. And I'm not telling everybody to do that. As a matter of fact, don't. You're all a bunch of phonies if you do it now. Al is the only one who's allowed to do that. But I just want to let him know. That is very nice. That is a nice thing to read every day. It's little. It's small. It's not a big thing, but it's nice. So thank you, Al. All right. Again, I'll put that up. Tip the show if you can. We'll be back tomorrow. Maybe I'll do an early show. Maybe I'll do an early show tomorrow. It is not lost on me that since we moved to 2 o'clock, the tip situation has been absolutely fucking horseshit. So maybe I try to go early for the next couple of days and maybe we'll tap into a little something. I don't know. I'm so tired of this life. What's going on with my TV? Yeah, it's one of those shows where I can't figure out a way to end it. It's one of those shows where we're just gonna. What's this? I make time every day to listen, and I am very busy, important person. So that's a yes, you are. Yes, you are, Kevin. Thank you. That's very nice. That's very nice. All right, I gotta go. We'll see you tomorrow. Maybe at noon. I don't know. Like, follow, subscribe. That's how you find out when this is on. Bye. Love you.